Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Tuesday morning. It is draft day. Finally, it's here. Enough of the hype and the yakking. Somebody make a pick already, and then we can find out who's left on the board for the Jazz and who they want to take. And then we can go from there. Summer League's not far away, so that'll be a nice place to start. Draft tonight, we're going to hear from the top picks in the draft, the guys we expect to be drafted top: AJ Dybantsa, Darryn Peterson, Cam Boozer. Ben Anderson's in New York, spoke with all three of them. They had media availability the day before the draft. You will hear from those three players coming up later in this segment. And yes, there are reports now that Darryn Peterson has indeed met belatedly with the Utah Jazz. So there is that. I've seen a couple of those out there. We'll get to all of that coming up. Looking forward to that. David Locke on the draft and what he thinks and expects. We'll get to that coming up in our next segment. It is time. And we were promised yesterday that Giannis Antetokounmpo would be traded in the 35 hours leading up to the draft, and he was. He goes to Miami for some players because they have to send some salary back, and also some draft picks, 3 first-rounders, pick swap, that kind of stuff. So he's out. Milwaukee's rebuilding. It's going to take a while. Miami, I mean, they got a nice team, but the Knicks just came from out of nowhere. Nobody said, the Knicks were down to Atlanta 2-1 in the first round. Nobody said, oh, the Knicks are going to pull this together and win 15 of the next 16 games and win the championship. Nor did anyone say, how can a favorite like the Knicks be down 2-1 to Atlanta? It's kind of one of those things. So who knows? Maybe Miami could pull something off. It really doesn't look like it on the surface, but we'll see where that goes. I was reading the analysis of those last night, and I thought it was interesting. The team that got the shout-out was the Portland Trail Blazers. Of all the winners and losers in the trade, with the Damian Lillard deal, Portland picked up some Milwaukee draft picks here the next few years, and Milwaukee figures to be in rebuild mode, so those picks suddenly look better. And now the odds have been flattened, so what does it mean for those picks really? We don't know until we get there. But Portland's got to find that intriguing. They have got to be intrigued and interested in how that might play out. The timing of the Giannis trade, I think it works for them. The Jazz got picks from Minnesota and Cleveland. Those teams have remained good. And there was a thought that maybe the Giannis deal was blocking the market. Some other trades did happen. Minnesota sent Julius Randle to the Nets. Got some draft picks back, got some cap relief. They want to keep some other players. So, there are moves happening. But Minnesota and Cleveland largely stayed pretty good. So those have not been great opportunities for the Jazz. Now, 27 and 29 are still coming up. We'll see what happens. They've traded the worst of those picks because they don't need to keep stockpiling multiple draft picks every year. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. But Portland picks up maybe a little something there with Giannis getting moved. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, David Locke on the NBA draft. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We have David Locke on the radio every Friday morning. Didn't have him on last Friday, Juneteenth. We were off, so we moved him to Monday, got him on the day before the draft. He joined us yesterday. We'll let you listen to that conversation right now. Here's David Locke with PK and I on The Zone. David, good morning.
Oh, my gosh. A Monday, starting the week, instead of ending the week, discombobulated. Don't have room for a great open. Can't think of things. I'm not ready yet. It's first thing Monday. There's only been 4 shots of espresso instead of 40 by Friday. I can't rise to the occasion of the greatness of DJ and PK on a Monday.
Are you set on who you think you would want? And do you think that the Jazz are still ongoing, still being tossed about?
I am not set. I am assuming the Jazz are set at this point.
Oh, okay.
I waver regularly. I waver on who should be the first pick. I waver on how much I like each guy, how much their weaknesses bother me. I would say that's actually probably what changes the most for me personally day to day is like a weakness, and then you start worrying about it. And so I don't. The idea that Cameron Boozer should be the number 1 pick of the draft, which is like every analytics department viewpoint, and I get closer to that every day, frankly. Let me ask you guys the question. Who helps you win more? This is my podcast today. Who helps you win more?
What's your definition of timeline for win?
I mean, win more basketball games.
Today,
you win
in 26, 27, or 30, 31? Because I think that could be two different answers.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair. But let's see if we can cumulatively answer that question, like over the stretch of the next 5 to 6 years, which player wins more basketball games?
Oh, that's a different question than which guy has a team in the NBA Finals by the time he's 25, 26, 27. Which one of these guys is most likely to be the best player on an NBA Finals team in 6, 7, 8 years?
Okay, so that's an interesting. Like we're dancing on two different levels here.
Yep.
You're dancing in like the upper 1% of possibilities.
Mm-hmm. I am.
Right?
On purpose.
Yeah, and I'm dancing on more of like I got to play 82 games for the next 6 years with this guy. And who's going to give me 5 extra wins every year because of the way he plays, which gets me in the and so
if I were drafting,
those are two very different.
I know,
those are two very different questions.
But if I'm drafting 10th or 15th, I'm doing what you are. But I'm drafting second. And this is a rare chance to take a big swing. So I'm thinking different than I'm drafting 10 or 15. I'm thinking the way you are. But I'm drafting 2, so I'm thinking different.
Well, I actually think Cameron's the biggest. Cameron might be my answer to both these questions. The biggest upside is Cameron Boozer becomes a ball handling, point forward initiator of the offense. I don't know that he's good enough to do this. But you're taking a swing. I'm not sure his handle's really that good, and I'm not sure he really can get low enough to do this. Because if you have a high dribble, it's hard to do. But that's his big swing, is that he's Cade Cunningham at 6'10", and he's your point guard, and he's initiating half of his possessions on the floor every night. And the other half, he's setting the pick and rolling to the mid post, and he's making a play off the free throw line on a mid roll. And then another set of possessions, he's pinning a point guard down in the post, and he's just a force. He's just an incredible force. AJ's is that he shoots the three. That AJ can shoot 37, 38% from three with his ability to pull up in the mid-range, and he's an unstoppable offensive player. Those two have the biggest upside. I don't think Peterson's upside is as high as these other guys. Caleb Wilson's upside's really interesting too, frankly. Sometimes I do all this stuff and I circle back to Caleb Wilson, that if it all comes back together, then but he's a when and an if a little bit more. But if his when and if happens, it's pretty beautiful. So maybe it's, maybe Boozer's answer to both these questions. I think Boozer might help you win more games. Like, Boozer might just win you more games, just the way he plays. He might be the better player for 44 minutes, and he's not the best player for the final 4 minutes. But the 44 minutes might matter more. Well, by definition, they do, actually.
Yeah, you use the word might there 4 times, so that causes some level of concern. The thing that I find fascinating in this is that here we are on the precipice of this draft, and there is not a consensus number one. And it seems to me like last year and then a couple years back with Wembanyama and Flag, there was a consensus number one. And I'm wondering, are these players really all that cracked up that they're to be or supposed to be or will be? Because if they were, somebody would be a consensus number one. We can't have 3 superstars right at the top of the draft. I mean, you're big on history and what analytics say. Well, I don't know that that's happened. And so that causes me a little concern that there is, at this point, not necessarily, at least publicly, a consensus not necessarily unanimous, because consensus and unanimous are 2 different things, but there's not an obvious number one pick. Like last year, Cooper Flag, the Michigan coach is going to leave to go coach the Dallas Mavericks because Cooper Flag is there. And so I'm wondering if that is a little bit of a concern that someone has not separated, or maybe this is the one-time fluke where there's going to be 3 great stars or 4 great stars. You put in Wilson there.
I think that's fair. And I don't know which it is, but you're right. So the only draft ever that's had 2 MVPs in the top 4 is the Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook draft. There's actually almost never been a draft. There's been one draft, I think, ever where the top 4 picks, there's an MVP, a top 20, a top 50, and a starter. Every other draft in the history of the league, basically, one of the top 4 players doesn't pan out. And more often than not, you have like a top 20, a top 50, and a starter. So maybe this is a little better that we get it. You do get an MVP candidate. Like, that's where they come from. Like, the MVP candidates, Kate Cunningham was an MVP candidate this year a little bit, right?
Sure.
Jaylen Brown was an MVP candidate this year. He's top 3 pick. Like, those are, they weren't MVPs, but they were that's their caliber. And those are top 3 picks. They get that. So you're right. And I think there is a little bit. Like, I have my worst case, like, my concern on all 3 is really real. Like, let me just ask you guys, you've watched it more than I have. Is AJ Dybantsa going to shoot better than 35 or 36% from 3 in the NBA?
I'd say no.
Okay, then he's a real problem. He's not actually just not as good as we want. He's actually an anchor to your offense. You cannot find an efficient offensive player who's going to use 15 or more, you cannot find an offensive player in the NBA who uses 15 or more possessions, who shoots below 35% from 3, who's offensively efficient. It doesn't happen. You can't do it. I don't care how many free throws you shoot. If he can't shoot 35% from 3, he's my 4th pick of the top 4. If you're really comfortable with that. Then he is, they're 20-point a game scorers, but they're anchors to their offense. That's to your point that someone hasn't separated. Like, if we knew AJ was going to shoot 35 or 36% from 3, he would have separated. And the odds wouldn't be heading back the other direction, right? He was minus 500 as the number 1 pick. He's now minus 425. I'm going to guess he's below minus 400 by the end of today.
Yeah, I get your point.
Do you think Peterson is only working out for one team because he knows Washington is going to take him, or is he only working out for one team because he's trying to send a message to Washington, obviously I'm the number 1 pick and you should take me?
I think it's the second. So first of all, like, AJ, everyone's shocked by, like, not everyone's shocked, but AJ did an interview with, I think, Quentin Richardson or someone like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't go work out for these teams. I just go visit the cities. Like, it wasn't like Darryn Peterson was going to go get on the floor and do a bunch of work when he came to Utah. So I don't know what's the point. If they've already met with Darryn in Chicago, and the point would be to show him the city and make him think that the city's okay. Well, if he doesn't think the city's okay, you're still drafting him. So I'm not sure it really matters, right?
Right.
And I'm, from his agent standpoint, I'm not entirely sure what they gain by him coming to visit. Like, right? Like, I don't think if I was Darryn Peterson's agent, I wouldn't have visited Utah either. Like, it just looks like I'm accepting that I could be the number 2 pick. I don't gain anything from the visit. They're not going to not take me or take me. I'm not giving them more medicals. The league now has rules on what you have to do at the combine. I did that. I'm not going to do more. So I actually don't know what the value of coming to visit Utah is. So I just think it's like it's a good headline. It carried a bunch of clicks for a while. But I think and I get it. Like, I'm not criticizing anyone for making it a headline, and we all talked about it. But it's not. And if it's L.A., he probably comes and visits because then he gets 3 days in L.A. Like, I don't know. But it's like it's just a non-impactful issue. Because it wasn't like he was getting on the floor and doing like a draft workout when, Donovan did his draft workout with 5 other guys and he torched them all, and you knew Donovan was special. Like, if he was doing anything, it was going to be against a chair. But he wasn't going to do that. And they weren't going to get to see anything that really gave them an understanding of who he was as a player.
Then if he's available, the Jazz would have no problem drafting him if they think he's the best player available.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Right. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And so his visit doesn't really matter at all.
I don't think
and
so.
It doesn't matter for either side, actually.
Right.
I don't think the Jazz are bothered that he didn't visit. And if I was Darryn Peterson's agent, I wouldn't have visited.
If I'm Adam Silver, I'm glad he didn't visit because that made news. It made clicks. People were talking about the NBA.
Right. And it adds drama to the hour before the show this
Precisely.
week.
And it's going to bring in more viewers.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't going to watch the draft.
Crazy,
now I'm going to watch it.
We don't really know we have this high-quality players. We don't really know who's the number 1 pick. We don't really know who the number 2 pick is either. like we kind of had this a little bit in the Paulo Banchero, Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith draft, but I don't know that but they aren't as good of players, or at least they weren't projected to be as good of players.
Right.
And there is this little wild card that, like, if the Jazz drafted Caleb Wilson second, it's a stunner, but it's not out of the realm of possibility at all.
I think it is.
I mean, if go back to our first question that you guys kind of, when I asked who helps you win more, you asked when. You can make a real argument that he's the best player in 4 years.
I think why we're doing that is because he had the furthest to come. Is that these kids started getting hyped at 15 and 16. By 17, it's like their draft position is almost cemented. Are they going to go top 5 or not? And Wilson had longer to go, and he wasn't there when he was 16, so he becomes more intriguing. He's more of a mystery, and because of that mystery, that leads to the intrigue. Well, maybe, and he's 6'10", and he's athletic, and blah, 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 blah. Whereas if we just flipped him, and it was Dybantsa who had longer to go, we'd be saying the same things about Dybantsa.
Right. But that might be why you draft him.
Maybe so.
Here's the biggest thing I would say. We're doing 90% of our conversation on their college year, and I would say it's probably 30% of the evaluation.
Oh, I agree. We were talking about this earlier, DJ and I, where I said the Darryn Peterson thing is he came in as the number 1 pick before the season, and so everybody and their dog that has his ear is telling him, you need to sit, you need to protect the investment. Whereas if he was Acuff or the kid from Houston or whatever, he's out on the floor. But no, he can't afford to drop in the stats. Too much money at stake, and he's making too much money. Jay Drew had a story in the Deseret News yesterday about Ace Dybantsa's father, the spiel on Father's Day, and he quit his job when the kid was 16 years old because he's making money. It's all about investment and stuff. It's not about playing in the 35 games into college. Who gives a crap about that?
Right. So we're evaluating all these college. I'm doing it too. The fact of the matter is that the Jazz have watched these guys for 3 years, 4 years. And they're, and that's those are the games. All this matters as much as everything.
Yeah.
I mean, the dad aspect of all this stuff is a little crazy, right? Like, I mean, it's clear that like everyone's invested, and I get it. Like, it's a lot of money, and if I was a dad, I guess I would be too.
Sure.
But it is like, you do wonder. Like, we've seen the parents destroy. I saw Robert Swift, and that was very well publicly. And there was another player I saw who was not as public. So I'm not going to throw his parents under the bus right now. But like, his dad was a real problem. Like, his dad literally sat front row across from the team, and then literally had a meeting with his player after his son after every home game about what he thought was right and wrong. It's super problematic. Like, the idea that we think that Darryn Peterson's dad or AJ Dybantsa's dad is not going to be heavily involved in their kid in every way, considering how heavily they've been all involved at this point. Well, I don't know what that impact is.
All right, before we go, do you have any final pronouncements, anything you want to say and get on the record so you can say I was right, I knew it, or there's just too much doubt out there and we'll just find out when they make the pick?
My 3 takeaways sitting here at this moment. If you want the big swing, I think it's Boozer. I think he is the one who has you talk about the big swing, I get the big swing, I think it's Boozer. I think Peterson has the smallest differential between his ceiling and his floor. And AJ's shooting is not an additive, it's a necessity.
We'll leave it right there, David. We appreciate it as always. Even on a Monday, if you've only had four espressos instead of 40, we'll still take it.
All right. Talk to you Friday, hopefully. Then my life will be complete.
Exactly. Thank you, David.
See you.
All right, there's David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz. Reminder, don't miss your chance to win big every week on the KSL Sports Zone. This week, you can win a pair of tickets to see Leonard Skinner at the Utah State Fair on September 16th. Tickets include fair admission, so Get yours now at utahstatefair.com or listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day Wednesday for your chance to win. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from the guys who are expected to be the top 3 picks in the NBA draft. Cam Boozer, Darryn Peterson, AJ Dybantsa. Coming up next, stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The NBA draft coming up tonight. We will have full-blown draft coverage starting with Ben Anderson from New York. 2 o'clock this afternoon with Jake. They'll be on from 2 to 4. Then Ben will break away because he's got to move around New York, get to the draft. PK and I will step in and join Jake from 4 to 6. And then Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe at 6 o'clock, getting ready for the draft and going through the draft as the picks start happening a little after 6 o'clock. So that's the schedule coming up today. Now, Ben was there yesterday, and there's media availability. Here, listen in, Cam Boozer with the media. Ben Anderson in New York. Here's Cam Boozer, the Duke star, son of Carlos Boozer. And I think he's just about done talking about his dad. Here's Cam Boozer.
About your dad, but just to know what he accomplished in his career, and to have this be in the moment, really the start of your official professional career. What are your emotions like? Knowing to be able to follow in his footsteps and the legacy he built that you can carry on.
I'm just excited to write my own story. For me, it's not really about carrying on his legacies, but starting mine. Tomorrow is obviously the first step of that journey, so hopefully it's many, many more years after that. So it's gonna be a lot of fun for sure.
Cam, what were your impressions of Ellis? And I know they're notorious for having difficult workouts. What was that?
It was good. I went, saw the city. I think it's a very well-run organization. They got a lot of smart people in their front office, and they got a great head coach. So it was a good experience for sure.
Cam, what's it going to be like playing for the first time in your life without your brother on your team next year?
It's definitely going to be different. Obviously, we played our whole life together, won a lot of games together, and for us not to do it together next year, it's going to be different. Probably a little sad, but I think it's a great opportunity.
Hi Cam, I'm from Sina, China. So your father has a lot of fans in China. So what is the biggest piece of advice given to you before the draft night?
Just to be where my feet are, enjoy the moment. It goes by quickly, so that's probably the biggest piece of advice.
Okay, so do you have a message for the basketball fans from China?
We just appreciate the support. My dad played out there. The fans are crazy. A lot of guys go over there, have a lot of fun. Even have second careers out there. So we appreciate you guys watching, and yeah.
Thank you. And besides your father, is there NBA players you are always look up to?
There's been a lot, but I don't think I can point to one guy specifically.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
There have been so many good players played in the NBA, currently in the NBA. Is this somebody who has given you advice?
From Duke, you're saying?
Yeah. Besides your dad.
I haven't really reached out to so many guys about advice. I think for me, I've been very lucky to be around for so long that I had a lot of great advice before I even got to Duke. But obviously Tatum's our CBO. He was around a couple of times, and obviously Duke's a great experience. And for me to be able to join a list of guys who are from Duke and NBA is going to be a great tomorrow for sure.
Growing up around the NBA, were there guys that outside of your dad that you got to spend time around that you learned from?
There's a couple guys. I think D Rose is one who was around. But my dad and Nate Robinson are really close too. I was around him a lot, so there's been a couple of guys.
What's been the most rewarding part of the process from the end of the draft combine to now?
The most rewarding from, I think just enjoying where I am right now. I worked my whole life to be here. I've been working hard since obviously that point to now, but I think just really kind of soaking it in, that this is what I've worked my whole life for.
At your workouts, what were you trying to show off to teams, and just in your conversations with them?
I was just trying to be myself in my conversation with them, show them who I am, a high character guy. That's really it, honestly.
What did they want to know about you?
A lot of it was the same thing, just getting to know me as a person. So.
Cam, if you could have one song playing when you get drafted, what song would you have queued up?
I don't know, maybe one of the new Drake songs.
Janice.
I like Janice for sure, yeah.
What else can we find on your pregame playlist?
I mean, whatever the team's playing, really. I'm not really on aux, honestly. I just listen to whatever the guys are playing. You know, for me, music's not something that really gets me going, honestly. So, thank you.
What age were you when you realized that going in the NBA draft was a possibility for you?
Probably in 8th grade, I would say. So, it was 13, 14, something like that. Probably 8th grade.
And then how old were you when you decided to hope for and want it?
6th grade.
So Duke's a pretty good school, and your dad went there. Are you going to be going there during the summers, trying to finish off the degree?
Not this summer.
Not this, but
yeah,
down the road,
yeah, down the road, I'll probably go back and try to finish it out for sure.
Anything you want to study there?
Business.
That's good. That's good.
Yes, sir.
Always good to know business.
Yep.
Were you able to talk to an agent? Did your dad help you with that? Go over, like, when it comes to investing, tax policies, and things like that?
Yeah, I'm in a good group for sure.
Like
Yeah, thank you.
You expect to be available for Summer League?
Then why wouldn't I be?
Just to make sure some guys don't end up playing.
Yeah.
What do you hope to be able to show in Summer League?
I just want to keep doing what I've been doing, my versatility, my winning. I think that's my biggest skill, so just being the player I've been to this point.
Fashion has become a big part of the NBA draft. How would you describe it?
What did you say was a big part?
Fashion has become a big part of the NBA draft.
I think I just got a plain, clean style. I don't think I'm very flashy, so just a plain style.
You have the look pick over for tomorrow?
Of course.
Can you give us a sneak preview of what you're wearing?
No, sir.
Do you think the hours leave?
You first.
What's up, bro?
I got a question. You are one of the strongest 19-year-olds I've seen in my life play the game of basketball. Do you actually like lifting weights, or you just do it because it helps you on the court?
Well, I'm 18, but I would say I don't mind lifting. I wouldn't say it's my favorite thing, but I definitely don't mind it. Yes, sir.
Understanding that, your dad being in the league, what is the best piece of advice he's giving you during this draft process?
I'll just be where my feet are, enjoy the moment. It goes by quickly, so, just soak it all in. Yes, sir. Almost my Duke brother.
Do you think you'll be able to get sleep tonight, or that the heart will be racing heading into before you get on that stage, whenever 10 minutes before the draft starts?
I think I'm gonna sleep great tonight, honestly. Tomorrow I'm gonna get drafted. I don't know where it's gonna be, but just knowing that's gonna happen I think I'm gonna sleep great for sure. What he did this year in the league, I think if he was at Duke would have been special for sure. But obviously, I think he made the right choice, being picked as high as he was in the year he had. So.
Do you have a relationship with him? Like, you could end up being teammates again?
We talked briefly during his process of committing to Duke, so we talked briefly, so.
When he says, or when anyone says you're a 30-year-old in an 18-year-old's body, how much of he intends as a compliment? How do you take it, and how do you get that way?
I do appreciate it. I think shows I'm mature. I think it's something that you kind of just grow up having to be when you've been around for so long and the media's in your face from such a young age. But I don't mind that at all. So.
How much time did you spend in Salt Lake City as a young person? Any?
I lived there for a year, but I was so young that I don't remember. I think my dad stopped playing there 2009, and I was born in 07. So
he's always had nice things to say about Utah. Have you guys visited back at all?
I visited during this process.
Yeah. How was that?
It was good.
Yeah. How long were you there?
Like a day and a half.
Yeah. What did you guys do? Did you go to the practice facility at all, or how does the workout work?
You kind of just see the city, talk with the coaches, things like that.
All right, there is Duke star Cam Boozer. Now here is BYU star AJ Dybantsa.
Yeah, there's definitely competition. You've seen what they did. I think Cam went to Sweet 16. DP, I think he went to the Sweet 16. I mean, great players, average around the same amount of points, if not more assists, if not more rebounds. I think Cam has more rebounds. I mean, it's definitely competition, but I mean, I'm always better myself.
Are you looking forward to kind of following people across this best draft in a long time? Are you excited to see how all three of you guys do?
Yeah, I mean, not just all three of us. I mean, I think there's some hidden gems, far down the road. But I think, like, when we see ourselves in 15 years, I think a lot of us will still be in the league, and I think it'll be one of the best draft classes.
Thank you. Given all your ties to the state of Utah, a lot of speculation that that's where you would prefer to be drafted. Do you enter this with any preference as to what team you go to, other than preference?
AJ, if you could steal a skill from somebody else in this draft class, what skill would that be?
Does a Daymara's height count?
I guess height can be a skill, okay.
Yeah.
And if there was a one-on-one competition with everybody in the class, other than yourself, because a lot of people have been saying you, who do you think would win?
Probably Darryn Peterson.
What do you like about his kind of one-on-one game?
Super skilled. He's probably one of the higher isolation bucket scorers in college basketball last season.
Created on 2K, he might the player that turned out to be now in the
How did I compare my player? Oh damn! I wasn't really playing 2K, but I was kind of like one of those like 7-foot dummy guys that would have all the dribble moves, which isn't me. So I mean, I was just creating something that like totally broke the game.
AJ, you have a lot of fans in China, so do you have a message for them?
Yes, I'm coming in a month, so I'll see you out there. Ni hao.
Thank you.
Your schedule's already been super packed as it is leading up, and then you go to China in a month. Like, what is it? Can you describe for us what it's been like from, I don't know, it's a long time ago, March to like now? It's kind of a whirlwind.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot. It's been a whirlwind for sure. That's probably the word to use, but kind of got to do what you got to do. I mean, they said this pre-draft process would be long, and I didn't believe it until I actually started. I felt like the season blew by, and this process has been super long, but I mean, it's been great. Obviously, getting to go to the finals and getting to do a whole bunch of stuff. I went to Paris.
I was about to say, can you count the number of cities you've been to on two hands or one?
No, it's definitely two. I mean, it was LA, Cribs, I was in Boston, I was in Paris, I was in Budapest, I was in Nantes, France, I'm going to China, I'm going to some more places. And I've been in New York.
Home?
Yeah, I went home.
Yep.
For a little bit.
Yep. Oh, and did you know Buka in the change? Did you have any kind of sort of connection to Buka and Corey at all? He was in New Hampshire.
Yes. I used to play against Ibuka. I don't know if I actually played against him, but he used to play for the Rivals. And when I was in Mass, and he went to Brewster, so I played against him at Brewster. And I did win that game, so you can ask him about it.
AJ, what do you remember most about your time in Provo?
What am I going to remember most? People trying to get me to try swig.
Did you try it?
Nah. Nah, not gonna lie.
If you end up in Utah, they're gonna make you try it again.
No, I don't drink soda, so it's quiet.
What do you remember about the Delta Center?
Delta Center, it was lit. I mean, every time I went, like they showed up, they showed out. Mascot was super funny. He always came up to me every single game.
What'd you learn from playing with Kevin Young?
That attention to details is super important, especially when you get to the league. You can get away with a lot of stuff in high school than college, but in the league, you're not gonna get away with those type of things.
Did he say anything specific about your game that he thinks you need to play tighter in the NBA to work?
I'm just sharpening up my overall game. That's defense, that's offense, that's rebounding. Just sharpening it up.
AJ, yesterday was Father's Day. I know your dad's a big part of your career.
Yeah.
What's that moment to be with him tomorrow?
That'll be fun. I told him he can get the last hug since it's close to Father's Day, so I'm a wrap around and give him the last hug.
AJ, I saw you created that Dunk the Sun photo shoot the other day.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Bro, that was lit. It was super long though, cause like you have to get like the exact angle. But it was the pictures turned out super dope. I was fine.
And I saw the hoopahs dedicated to your mom with the American flag. What was that like putting that together?
Yeah, I mean I've been tapped in with the hoopahs for like 2 years now. So they started in Chelsea, Massachusetts. So for me to have my mural on there and pictures on there, it was just super surreal.
What do you remember about the game against Kansas last season?
What do I remember? We lost. It was a good performance. He only played a half. He had like 18. Played good.
What stood out about his game up against them?
What was your question?
What stood out about his game up against them?
Just his shot making ability. I mean, he's able to get to the mid range, able to get to the rim, able to shoot threes, heavily contested.
What's a dream brand partner that you would love to have that you don't currently have?
A car, so I don't gotta pay for a car.
And everybody knows you're a talented hooper, but what's a talent that nobody knows that you have?
A talent that nobody knows that I can have. I can fall asleep on planes. I don't think everybody can do that.
AJ, are you tight with any
NBA stars, and what kind of advice would they give you?
Yeah, so I'm super tight with KD, Jaylen Brown, but they just try to give me advice on how they came up and being top high school recruits to top college recruits and then ended up being top picks and just trying to give me the advice to pay with.
AJ, first NBA jersey of a Rock growing up.
Kevin Garnett.
Celtics?
Yeah, Celtics.
Off. Have you met him before?
Yeah, I did. He crazy.
Crazy. Adam is fun. He's my favorite player too, so I appreciate that.
Okay.
Who's one media member in this room that you would be the most afraid to play the game of horse?
Jenny.
What?
Great.
You've seen my tapes.
Yeah, I mean, you alright though.
I'll take that.
AJ, you've kind of been in the spotlight for a long time. 8th grade, we're talking future #1 pick. How do you manage to not let all that go to your head and to be here today?
Just stay down and work. The media's gonna be, praising you and saying you're all these good things, but I still gotta go down and go work out. I still gotta live. I still gotta eat right. Just stay down and just continue my work ethic.
Regardless of where you end up, what kind of relationship do you want to have with BYU going forward?
I'm still gonna be in contact. I'm gonna try to go to games. Obviously, with my schedule, I don't know what games I'm gonna be able to go to, but if they play in the city that I'm in, I'll definitely go to the games.
We saw Dusty May today take the Mavericks job, leaving Michigan.
Yeah,
do you think Kevin Young's going to stay in college?
Yeah, I think so.
He likes college?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know what's going on through his head, but I think so.
Have you talked to Bruce Branch at all?
Yeah, I have.
What would you tell him as he gets ready to go to BYU?
Yeah, I kind of told him just stay down. A lot of people are gonna have expectations to you, but just play your game. Don't try to do too much. And that system's perfect for him, so I think he'll be all right.
What do you think about Richie Saunders going in the draft?
I think he's still getting drafted. I know that his injury kind of hurt him a little bit, but I think him doing his interviews and when he'll be back 100%, I think some team will still take a chance on him.
We got to see him a lot at BYU. Is there maybe something more to his game that you saw behind the scenes?
I mean, his leadership. Like I said, when he went down, I kind of had to step up because he was our vocal leader. He was our glue guy. He was like the 4-year vet. Everybody knew, but I mean, he's older. He's wise. So I think teams should take a chance on him.
Before last season, I asked Keontae George if he had seen you, and he said he got to a practice and saw you. And he said you rose up and dunked on somebody. Do you know what he's talking about? Because nobody's seen the dunk.
Yeah. I can't post a dunk. It's one of my best friends, and I don't want to do him like that, but it was probably my best poster ever.
A teammate?
Yeah.
You don't
Last question, guys, okay?
I can't even do it.
AJ, do you view this as a competition with Darryn and Cam as far as who could be the #1 pick? And do you think it'll be a competition going forward in your NBA careers?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's definitely a competition. I mean, we're all trying to get to one spot, so if only one person could win, it's definitely a competition. But I think we're going to be playing against each other for a very long time.
Are you looking forward to seeing how they do as well in the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to do well. I think they're great players. I think they're going to play 15-plus years with their talent.
All right, there's the former BYU Cougar, AJ Dybantsa. Now to the guy from Kansas who was picked to go #1 in the draft at the start of the year, slipped to 2, but now a lot of people think he might go 1. Although not everybody. Still a lot of people thinking he might fall to 2. Here's Darryn Peterson.
What was your first NBA jersey of a Rock growing up?
LeBron Cavaliers.
What color? Which one?
Like the maroon, like red type.
You got that one?
Yeah, that one was fire.
And then what's your all-time favorite individual basketball play from your entire career so far? At any level?
Entire career?
Yeah.
I got to go with the dunk on BYU, right?
Hands down.
I think that's probably my best career play for right now.
It's got to be.
Yeah, it's up there for sure.
You're the man.
For sure, thank you.
Dan, throughout this process, it's been all this talk, you're only focused on Washington. Is there any truth to you having gone in and visited with Utah over the weekend?
One more time?
Is there any truth to you having gone in and visited with Utah over the weekend?
Is there any truth in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we met.
You went to Salt Lake?
We met.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that go?
Good. Just like another Chicago kind of meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you leave that feeling with a good impression they're considering you there if you're not #1 pick to Washington?
They all been similar. I can't really. Everybody got like a poker face right now. I can't really read anybody, but all the meetings went well.
Well, good luck with all.
Appreciate you.
What's a dream brand partnership that you would love to have that you don't currently have?
DoorDash.
DoorDash? Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, DoorDash.
AJ Jones also said that one.
Yeah.
And then everybody knows you're a talented hooper, but what's a talent that nobody knows that you have?
I think I'm good at video games. Probably video games.
What's your most talented video game that you
2K.
Okay.
Basketball related, but still game. But, yeah.
What's the team that you usually play with?
We play random, so like pick a team for you. I'm good with anybody.
More important, what console?
Yeah. Console, I'm Xbox all the way. Xbox.
Okay, what would your reaction be if you don't go 1?
My reaction be?
If you don't go 1.
same reaction I would have if it was. I'm just blessed to be in this have the opportunity.
Do you feel you're the best player in this draft, and why?
For sure. And why?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to, but I think I prove it all the time.
Dan, do you feel like you're in competition with Cam and AJ for that number 1 spot, or how do you view kind of the top 3 picks?
I feel like I'm in competition with everybody in the draft. I guess it's the top 3, but I feel like I'm in competition with everybody.
Are you looking forward to seeing how those guys do in their NBA careers, also Cam and AJ, in addition to you, and kind of how this whole class unfolds?
Yeah, they say our class is one of the best in the wild, so I'm gonna be tapped on everybody's career.
Do you agree with that, and why? About how good this class is?
Yeah, I agree. I'd say we're pretty good, but we don't know what our futures look like. But I think we're a pretty good class.
Darryn, what would you just say to the critics who kind of question, with all the injury stuff? And what would you say to people who would question you as you get closer to the draft?
I'm back. Period. That's it.
What do you mean by I'm back?
I'm myself again. I'm feeling great. And, never felt better, actually, and I'm super excited.
Do you expect to play at Summer League?
Yes.
Yeah. Keontae George talked to you a little bit after the lottery. Do you remember what he said to you?
Actually, we talked about a trainer that works out with both of us. Just a little conversation about him.
You guys have the same agency. Have you guys talked previously?
Yeah, we rap a little bit. But
you spent a little time in Salt Lake City, the grind session, I think it was. Do you remember the town at all?
Yeah, I do. It was smooth.
What was your thoughts on Utah?
It was nice. I liked it. Seeing some mountains and stuff. It's a nice scenery.
Darryn, if you could have one song queued up when you get drafted, what would that be?
Drake. Star 67.
Hey, why that track?
You got some stuff on there I relate to.
What we found on your pregame playlist?
Pregame? More Drake. I like that Iceman album, something like that.
Darryn, so everyone loves to ask players, what's going through your head 24 hours before the draft, but I want to know what's going through your mom's head.
Through mom's head right now. She's kind of super emotional. Want me to hold it?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, she's like a little emotional right now. She's just taking it in.
Yeah, and then 3 emojis to describe your game.
3 emojis. I'll take the demon emoji, the purple demon. Ice, like the ice. I feel like I see some games, some cold plays, and the 100 emoji. I'm just 100 grand. Keep it 100 grand.
Thank you.
For sure.
Do you feel like you weren't able to show your true self the 1 year at Kansas? That that there's a narrative out about you that's not necessarily accurate?
One more time.
Do you think you weren't able to show your true self, and maybe there's a narrative out because of the time you missed that isn't accurate about you?
I think I showed everybody at the combine. They got all my medical and all this stuff, and I'm good now. So I mean, it probably still is because I had a year like that, but I'm prepared to prove everybody wrong.
What do you think people years from now are going to kind of remember about you now that you feel like you're past all that health stuff?
I think they're going to forget about the health stuff for a couple years from now because my game.
Darryn, good to see you.
You too, good to see you again.
What do you take from this year from Kansas? Like, what's something you learned, and do you have a message for Kansas fans?
Something I learned? The stuff that's going to happen in your career that you can't control, but I feel like I did everything. I controlled everything I could control, and got through it. So,
what's your kind of like post-season workout like? Walking through into the day, training.
I can't give you the whole spiel. They're gonna take my stuff, but definitely super intense. Coming off the year I had, I wanted to test my limits, and like I said, I'm feeling great. So,
are you extra motivated as you head into the league?
Sure. Nah, not even just because of that. Just I'm an extra motivated person.
Darryn, you're so versatile. There's so many ways you can impact the game. What kind of feedback have you been hearing from teams in terms of what they like about you or even what they want to see more of? And also any kind of role that they've told you, we expect that we would slot you in here next year?
What I've been hearing that I'm good at, a lot of the teams tell me, like, we know what you're good at, like, but we want to see you be better on the defense side of the ball. You got the intangibles to be one of the best two-way players, so just stuff like that. And what was the second part of that?
Like, is there kind of any confirmation of, like, if we take you, here's where we expect to use you next year?
What I've been hearing, I'm coming in and being, like, one of the guys, being a franchise guy, and prepared for that.
At a lead guard, at a combo score?
Combo. Yeah.
Thank you.
For sure.
I apologize if this is fast. What would be selected first overall in the team?
I mean, a lot. Just I work super hard. I feel like I deserve it, but I'm just prepared to make the most out of whatever situation happens.
The Wizards has made a lot about that they want to be on this team.
Yeah.
What kind of leader are you?
Definitely lead by example guy. I want to be more vocal. I'm coming into that, but definitely lead by example.
Darryn, how do you feel like you fit with the Washington Wizards? How would you fit into the way they do things over there?
Fit great. I went out there and met with the staff and GMs and all that, and we connected, which is something huge for me. I want to have a connection with those guys. And on court, young core. I'm becoming in as a young guy and playing beside some of those guys I know, and I feel like I'm going to fit in perfectly.
John Wall, who was a former star point guard of the Wizards, said he thinks the Wizards should take you with #1 overall. To hear that, what does that mean to you, and how much would it mean to carry on his legacy and become the star of that team?
For sure. When I seen they got the first pick, I did my research as well, and I seen Washington's guard. They have good guards like Gilbert Arenas, John Wall, Brad Beal. So I think I can fit in well with that group.
I saw a report that you worked out with Washington, but not Utah. Is that accurate? And if so, what went into that decision?
Yeah, I didn't make it to Utah. Just a decision we made.
Is Washington where you want to be?
Wherever I end up, I'm happy to be there.
Beyond Washington and Utah?
One more time?
Beyond Washington and Utah, did you have any communication with Memphis at all?
I did not. Well, we met in Chicago.
Utah's a team that's pretty ready to win. Is that something you'd be a situation you'd be excited to jump into?
Sure, yeah.
You think you'd help right away?
No doubt.
All right, there's Darryn Peterson, AJ Dybantsa, and Cam Boozer. We're going to take a break. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines next.
#NBA.
The Milwaukee Bucks send Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis to the Miami Heat. The big trade happens before the draft, as promised. In exchange, they get a whole list of players led by Tyler Hero. They also get 3 first-round picks, including number 13 in tonight's draft. They get picks out in 2031 and 33. They get a pick swap. They get a second-round pick. Did the Bucks, what do you think, PK? How much did they get? Did they get enough? Or they're a long way away and they got as much as they could?
Well, I mean, they've got, if you want to go by just stats from last year, 3 double-digit scorers. Jaquez was a nice player for them off the bench this past season. And obviously Hero has been in the league for a good while. So, I mean, they've got a bunch of players. And we'll see what Jacques Jonas did, the kid from, or what will do, I should say, kid from Illinois. He didn't play a whole lot last year. So, is Giannis going to lift Miami over the top? I wouldn't say so.
They've been stuck in play-in territory in the middle of the East, somewhere between 7th and 10th. We'll see if he elevates them out of that. Minnesota Timberwolves traded Julius Randle to the Brooklyn Nets in a 3-team deal. Nick Claxton goes to Chicago. The Nets get the number 28 pick tonight. Minnesota gets the number 33 pick. And the Minnesota Timberwolves looking to jettison a little salary there, motivating them to make that move. And then they turn around and spend that money on emerging guard Ayo Dosunmu, 5 years, $112 million extension. And also Trae Young. Expect to sign a 4-year, $212 million Supermax extension with the Washington Wizards.
Well, he's not a Supermax player. You can give him as much money as you want.
And they are.
I don't see where.
One playoff run for him 5 years ago.
He's okay.
Yeah.
He's rich as can be. That's more important than what level of ability you have.
Las Vegas. Will they get an expansion team, and who will own it? Well, Vegas Golden Knights owner Bill Foley announced he's launching a bid to bring an NBA team to Vegas and wants to be the owner. The NBA intends to place the team there in Vegas. He wants in on it. He cited the success he's had in building up the Golden Knights and having a ready-made arena and T-Mobile. So, as long as there's going to be a team there, might as well be his and his building, right? Why not?
Does he own T-Mobile?
I thought he did.
I don't know. Hence the question.
Yeah.
This wasn't. I wasn't a test. I wasn't putting you on the spot. I was trying to acquire information for myself.
Gives me something to do in the break. DJ and PK.
#NFL.
Former Green Bay Packers star Antonio Freeman said that his phone overheated. He received over 400 messages after his son Alex scored for the United States in the World Cup. He said his own heroics in Seattle paled in comparison. Alex's goal was 10,000 times better.
I thought your overheating can only happen like if it's the sun is beating down on it and it's warm.
Yeah, I've never gotten 400 messages all at once. I wouldn't know.
You haven't? Wow,
Nope.
That's shocking.
Nope. Never faced an onslaught like that.
I would have thought that would have been plenty. All the people that love you?
Nope. Brandon Ayuk continues to bark at the 49ers on social media. This time a shout out to the Washington Commanders. He's made it clear that's a franchise he would like to be traded to.
Is he a dog?
That drama continues, yes. He's barking at him. DJ PK.
#college football.
BYU garnered a trio of commitments coming out of this past weekend. Corner, Kamoni Adams from Kell High School in Georgia. Jason Rex out of San Clemente, California. Jackson. He is a athlete.
Nobody knows the difference.
To be determined. Lake Braddock from Virginia. Lake Braddock's kicker punter James Thorley. So I don't know where Lake Braddock, Virginia is, but go ahead. Somewhere in Virginia.
You did?
Boom.
No, I thought you did.
Never heard of Lake Braddock. Feel like I should have.
Who in the world thought you did?
Me. Thought I would have heard of it.
Well, then tell yourself. Don't tell us.
I just did. You have to listen when I talk to myself. You have to listen to the voices in my head. Deal with it. I have to listen to the voices in your
I
head.
know you try to be all things to everybody, but I don't
No, I
think
really don't.
I'm not listening to that guy. I'm not watching him, nor he doesn't know where Lake Paddock is in Virginia.
Utah.
And I counted on him on everything.
Utah knows that they're getting a guy from Corner Canyon. Everybody knows where Corner Canyon is because you've told us. Diesel Dart, safety. Also, Syracuse safety Caleb Hall.
He's got a lot of gas in that tank, let me tell you.
Couple commitments for the Utes and a trio for the Cougars, and there you go.
Oh, man. The year 26, 27, 28 is going to be something.
DJ and PK.
#Major League Baseball.
Manny Machado, is he breaking out of that slump?
Oh, yeah.
He's hitting like 160. Had a game-winning 3-run homer. He's got a game-winning solo homer. Padres, he was the only run in the game. Padres 1-0 over the Braves.
1-0. Friend of mine went to the game last night. I was texting him.
Yeah.
Braves get guys on first and second. I said they got to bunt them over. They didn't. They don't score. They don't listen to me. Also,
play small ball.
Get a run.
Didn't do it.
You're going up against King. He's the king of the Padres pitching staff. I told my friend, this guy's the best guy they got. They got to go for a run if they can get it, speaking of the Braves. And they didn't do it. But what are you going to do? They don't want to listen to me?
And now the Dodgers have the best record in the National League. They get a 2-1 win over Minnesota. Shohei Ohtani went deep on the second pitch of the game. Minnesota tied it up, and then Freddie Freeman went deep later, and the Dodgers win 2-1. Just put Shohei at the plate, right?
When it's his turn, it's really all you can do.
Come on, instead of pitching him.
Oh, they're in first place. Well, you want them to have a better record?
Eric Lauer, 6 innings of no-hit ball in relief. They brought him in the second inning, and he was awesome. And they ride him to a win. Oklahoma was not awesome, and then suddenly they were. After losing like 9 of 13 late in the SEC regular season, they have won the College Baseball World Series. They have the first title since '94. They hammer Carolina in the third and deciding game of the series, 13-2.
A disappointment.
That there wasn't more drama? There wasn't
North
any
Carolina
drama?
For Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It was great times.
Bees open a 6-game series in Albuquerque tonight. First pitch, 6:35. Tony Park's on the call. You can listen on 102.7 HD2 and the KSL X stream. We'll have draft coverage on 97.5 tonight and on 1280 The Zone. All right, DJ and PK. Messi scores both goals for Argentina, and they shut out Austria. Erling Haaland scores twice. The Stars are delivering. Norway beats Senegal 3-2. Lionel Messi, now the top scorer in World Cup history with those 2 goals. 18 in the World Cup.
Yeah. Hey, I was thinking about this. Tat for tat, soccer players are right there, man.
They are.
They got a lot of ink.
A lot of sleeves. Yep. Yeah.
Looks good. You should get one.
Kylian Mbappe, 16 career goals right behind Messi. He'll probably end up passing him. He's much younger. And France shut out Iraq and hammered them.
Kylian Mbappe?
Kylian Mbappe. Today, another big-time goal scorer. Harry Kane, England facing Ghana, one of the 4 games on the schedule today.
You sure that's not Kane?
It is not Kane. No. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NHL.
The Chuck family staying in the news. Pops, Keith, elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame. His sons became teammates on Florida just 24 hours earlier. So he is in. In a somewhat surprising move, Carolina Panthers coach Rob Brind'Amour was not part of the Hall of Fame class a week after winning the Stanley Cup. He was the Hurricanes team captain in 2006 when Carolina won their only other NHL title. Chuck goes in with Patrice Bergeron, Carey Price, Pekka Rinne, and U.S. women's hockey pioneer Cindy Curley.
Cindy was a pioneer, man.
Hockey Hall of Fame.
She's right there with Brigham Young.
What is Trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Coming up, Ben Anderson, host of Jake and Ben, KSL Sports Utah Jazz Insider, will join us from New York. He is there for the draft. He'll be here at 8 o'clock. Stephen Ellis, NHL Draft and Prospects Analyst for the Daily Faceoff at 9 o'clock with the NHL Draft coming up Thursday. DJ PK, we'll get to the question of the day next. Stay with us.
They've been doing it for a while.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
Darryn Peterson's camp thinks he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. In fact, the quote is, they are very confident he's going to be the number 1 overall pick, so he doesn't need to come work out in Utah because he doesn't think he's going to be on the board.
I think it's foolish of Washington if that news is out. Mm-hmm. I think that really damages them, so way to go there. You don't have to assure anyone a dang thing. Why would you weaken your leverage?
The Wizards don't really have an angle of why this would want to come out.
We know where it's from,
Who
for
does
sure.
it benefit?
Yes.
The only person who this could actually benefit is Darryn Peterson.
Yeah.
If he is looking at the draft boards and saying, oh man, I'm going to be the number 2 overall pick, that seems to be where everybody's leaning. So last gasp effort, Darryn Peterson's camp says, we're canceling our workout with Utah to show Washington how invested we are with Washington, so they feel forced to take us.
Catch Jake and Ben afternoons from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Join the KSL Sports Zone at JCW's in South Jordan for the NBA Draft Roundtable today, 2 to 6, at 10660 South Riverfront Parkway.
2 to 6?
Yep.
I thought we were going to
I thought we were going longer than that, too.
Well, the round table's from 2 to 6 and then draft coverage after that.
Oh. But they can still stop by.
Absolutely.
Jake will still be there. He's going nowhere. We'll be there 4 to 6.
Story of my life.
Exactly. Question of the morning. Darryn Peterson saying he met with the Jazz over the weekend. Does that calm your fears?
Yeah.
Nice. Nice impersonation. Vernon, what's your source?
Him.
Darryn Peterson. How do we know that? Because he was asked. Have you met with the Jazz? Yeah, over the weekend. Where? We met. What did they accomplish with the meeting? Get to know him a little better. Find out his attitude. Ask him a few questions. Get to know him as a person. We just heard Austin Ainge say who they are as a person, more important than their current skill set. Essentially, who are they betting on to improve?
Well, in May, they meet with them at the Chicago thing. Mm-hmm. But that's a long time away. You still got several weeks before the draft comes. And now the draft is here, right? It's right on top of us. And so now it's really serious. And so then I think having a meeting now, you can have this opportunity to figure out what's going on. What do you think? What's your mindset? Because it's a real possibility that you're available and we draft you. So tell us, what are you thinking about that? Before there's more posturing and it's going to go back and forth, rumors and this and that and trades and possibilities, all that stuff. Well, that's all out the window now. I mean, it can still happen, but the idea is that anytime anything is upon you as opposed to in the future, there's a greater sense of urgency. We were talking with your guy, Dunseth, yesterday, and Tim Ream, 38 years old, he's the captain of the team, right?
Yep.
And so after the game the other day, he's on the field crying. He says, this is the closest group, blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking that, but, if he was 28, would he have been as emotional?
No, to your point, the 38-year-old is thinking, well, the next World Cup is when I'm 42, so I'm not going to be there. Whereas the 27-year-old or 25-year-old is saying, I'll be 29, I'll be 31, I can be back.
So the sense of urgency and just purpose and all those types of things just goes into overload when you get right on top of something that is going to happen and something you've been waiting to happen for a long time. These kids will say my whole life, and we'll laugh because their whole life is a snapshot. But that's all they have is their whole life at 18 years old, 19. I mean, they kept asking Cam Boozer about, growth in your body and you're mature beyond your years as a 19-year-old. He says, well, I'm 18.
That was awesome.
He's not even 19.
We played the audio this morning. Did you see the video on social media last night?
Yeah, I watched it on YouTube. I watched all three on YouTube of all the interviews that we played.
Yeah.
Right.
But the body language, the look on the face and everything, it was just hilarious.
Right. He's not even 19. But, he does have a level of maturity, that's for sure. He presents himself extremely well and all that stuff, so it doesn't seem to be an issue with Cam Boozer as far as that goes. But for Darryn Peterson, now is the time, and it's going to happen, and it's dramatic and all. So I think my point is an interview now, I think it's much more insightful versus even though it was just last month, but it still seemed far away. And, today's the last day for posturing. We're done with that. It's now about who do you want, and then who do you want, and then down the line.
And I think all these things build on themselves. I don't know how much time they get at the combine with him. We heard other players. I think Boozer talked about spending basically a day and a half here, which is what we heard about the time. And I think to your point, when you meet with them and you learn a little bit and you want them to fly in and they don't, and you think, well, we got to double down on learning from everybody else who's been in his life. And there must be some questions raised by that follow-ups that you didn't ask before because you didn't know them yet because maybe you hadn't talked to all of those people yet. So you get to take a deeper dive into that and follow up on whatever high school or AAU coach or assistant at Kansas told you.
Because you don't want a shallow dive because that could wreck your spine.
No, it's a deep dive that wrecks your spine.
You don't want
shallow spine.
You don't want a shallow. That's what I'm saying. A deep, you can't. The shallow, you hit your head.
That's not how it works.
Yes, it is too.
Okay.
A shallow dive, it most definitely is. I knew a guy who ended up in a brace because he dove in and it was too shallow. You hit your boom. No, you want it to be deep. And then the water will take your body. Absolutely. No, that's exactly how it works.
Brady says, I didn't even have fears to begin with. Brady's not worried tonight. GR, on the other hand, says I haven't slept in a week. Worrying about it.
That's a little extreme. I think he's trying to make a point.
Yeah.
But all that stuff should be out the window now.
Jeff, fear of what? Oh, picking the wrong player. Isn't that the fear? You'll pick somebody at 2 and then somebody at 3 or maybe 4 or whatever. Has an awesome career.
Well, he could refuse to report if you want to go to the extreme.
That would be extreme.
So, there's a lot of things. And then you need to get me out of here. This isn't going to work and blah, blah, blah. You can take it as far as you want to with that. So, I think there's a concern. And you can point to Ace Bailey and all. Great, Ace Bailey, it worked. So far, so good. But that doesn't mean the next guy's going to be like that. You don't know.
Philip says it wasn't a big deal in the first place that Darryn Peterson didn't come out here to work out. I'm hoping we get him, but I'd be happy with AJ too. Philip, no fear. Philip's feeling good. No lose position in Phillips' mind.
Well, then if there was no fear, then why did they meet with him again? Why did they meet with him in the first place?
They had questions.
Right. So you may not have,
and the question,
but clearly they did.
And the question may be, is there something we should know that we don't? Maybe they just have to confirm what they already thought and they like him. It doesn't necessarily have to be, we got to meet with him. And
well, if they didn't have to meet with him, why did they want to meet with him out here? Why did they want to meet with him back there? So I disagree. They wanted to meet with him.
They want to meet with him. They have questions.
Right. So
and maybe just confirming, maybe questions.
Fine, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But to say that it's no big deal, they didn't need to meet with him, well, then why did they try to meet with him twice if they didn't need to meet with him?
Got to check all the boxes.
It doesn't make any sense.
Got to check and double check.
Whatever information they wanted is irrelevant. The fact that it's not irrelevant, but the fact is
they wanted
to meet with him.
They want to meet with him because there's some information they want.
And you can't say, well, it's no big deal, because if it was no big deal, why'd they waste their time doing it? It had to have mattered.
Brian, does it really matter? Why sweat it? The Jazz should already know the course of action. Main question with him is availability, work ethic, and is he really a long-term player? Or will he come for a couple of years, serve his time, and move on? Talent's not the issue. It's the drama surrounding his situation. Agreed, Brian. That's why it really matters.
But I think that talent is the issue. Not his talent. The talent compared to other guys, in this case, Boozer or Dybantsa, that you could possibly draft. So talent is the very issue. That's the whole point of having a draft, is to acquire talent. I mean, you can acquire. This is not the Boy Scouts here. You can get all the best guys in the world, but if they can't play, who cares? So yes, talent is absolutely the number one issue. Is he talented enough? Because if he's not, who cares what kind of good person or bad person or indifferent person that he is?
Well, I think Brian thinks he is talented enough. But Brian is worried about his availability, his work ethic, and is he a long-term player?
His talent isn't the equation exclusively.
It is not. Everybody else has got him. Cam Boozer's got talent.
Yeah.
And AJ's got talent.
Right.
We've seen it.
So it's just simply, it's not just his talent, it's how does his talent compare? And since they all have talent, then you start getting into all the other stuff about what kind of person he is and maturity level and work ethic. Those things at that point matter greatly because you've already decided he's got enough talent to be considered, not necessarily to be the guy, because it's determined upon who has what you think is more talent. If, in fact, somebody does have more talent. Or do you go, well, let's see, man, he may not be quite as talented, but the other potential issues are clearer to us that this is a better pick. So the difference in talent could be negligible, but there might be some character issues. And I'm just using an example. I'm not saying literally that there are for any of these kids. I'm just using it generally. And you might decide I need to go in this direction because this is what we want as a person we believe is going to get better. Because Austin just said, we just played the bite of him saying, you know, none of these guys are finished products, and obviously there's very few, if any, in the history of the world has been a finished product at 19, 18 years old. That's dangerous if that's the case. The guy ought to be, if he's even close to a finished product, then he's got to be the greatest player of all time.
Yeah, you can go through all the greats, and they weren't finished players. People with 4, 5, 6 titles, and Hall of Famers, and legends, and they all got better. Jared, fear? Not at all. Peterson's character flaws, his lack of leadership, they're concerning. However, I trust in Ainge. Jared's not going to stress about it. He's going to let everybody else stress about it. He's got a positive, upbeat approach that the Jazz are going to make the right choice.
Well, I don't know that they're going to make the right choice. That is years away from being decided. Was it an excellent pick? That's something that is in their control to a degree, not even completely. But to know that it was the exact right pick, I'm not sure that that's going to be known until the turn of the decade.
At the earliest.
Yeah. That's what's so cool about this. And it also can drive these guys up the wall, sleepless nights and all that stuff, because you don't really know for sure. And then injury could be a factor, and that's something that, you can't control. I don't think guys, I refuse to believe that guys are dogging it injury-wise at the pro level because there's just too much at stake. It's meaning if they're hurt, they're hurt. And if they can't go, Greg Oden couldn't play because of injuries. There's been guys that have had to, Matt Harpring, he had to retire because of injuries. He had stuff in the tank, but he couldn't go anymore. He couldn't play at the level that he needed to. And fortunately for him, he'd played a number of years. But those things can happen, and knock on wood, they don't.
Kim, no fear, but I think Darryn Peterson must have come to his senses. He's not going number one.
Why not? What does that mean? He came to his senses.
Well, in my mind anyway, and I assume, because Cam doesn't spell it out, it's a pretty short post here, I was always curious, is Peterson not working out for anybody else because the Wizards have tipped their hand somehow and he knows he's going number one? Or is this, hey, let's carry myself like I'm the number one pick and try to exert some influence on the situation? I'm not going to work out for anyone else. I'm the number one pick, obviously. Look at me. So now I think Cam is saying, well, he realizes maybe I'm not the number one and maybe I don't want to play this bluff to the end. I'm going to go ahead and meet with the team at number two because I definitely don't want to slip to three.
And so you think that was it? He needed. I mean, it's your.
I think that when Cam
theory, I understand.
Yeah,
that.
I think when Cam says Peterson must have come to his senses, I think he's referencing that line of thinking, and that this is Peterson tipping his cards. All right, I tried to bluff my way into number one, but we're getting real close here, and I'm not feeling it for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and meet quietly with group number two. And then when he gets asked about it, I mean, if you want to draw this out, this is all theory. I have no idea. There's a little pause in the answer, and maybe he's thinking, I don't want to say this, and I don't want to lie and get busted either. Yeah, I met with him. And then when they wanted details, it's none of them. Just shut it down. Where? I met with him. I'll decide what info gets put out here. I'm not getting into this anymore.
Well, I think somebody's advising him, and he's just doing what he's told.
Probably, as these 18 and 19-year-olds.
The location, who gives a crap?
I didn't. Right. I mean, maybe you can say, well, you went out and you saw the city. Oh, okay.
Well,
whatever.
he's already been here.
See the facilities.
He already mentioned the city.
Yeah, he did. You're right. He did.
He said the mountains and so forth.
Yeah.
So it's scenic. So he gave it a multiple thumbs up. And it is, especially if you're coming from the Midwest.
Yeah.
And you come out here and
mountains.
Name me a bigger city that has mountains this impressive. There literally are none in the United States.
No, this is it.
Yeah. I mean, Denver, but they're out in the distance.
They're a long way. They don't tower over you.
No, they're right on top of you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I cut my lawn, and especially in the summer, or I go out and water, and I look up in amazement.
Yeah.
And I've lived here for 30 years.
Yeah. But the mountains are towering right over you.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
So certainly it's extremely scenic. And so he acknowledged that. All good. He gave acceptable answers.
Kevin, what did meeting with the Jazz accomplish? Kevin thinks it's just all overplayed. And David sets him straight. It accomplishes a lot. You get to know the person off the court. You can make a fair evaluation. You're not going to know much about a person if you never sit down and talk with them. The GMs know every one of these kids' games inside and out, seeing every play they've made in high school and college. They had tons of scouts giving them info as well, so to know their game's very important. But to get to know the person, that's critical, especially in this case.
Well, I think gathering as much information is critical. This is why they did it. If it was meaningless, they wouldn't have done it. But obviously they thought it was meaningful. And I understand why they would think it's meaningful. Get to know a human being as much as possible, right? I mean, they talk to marriage counselors and all that stuff, and they'll tell you the same thing. Don't rush into it. Wait. Get to know them as much as possible. And even with that, half of the marriages in this country end in divorce. So And that's the thing about it, because who you are in the moment, what are you going to be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years down the line? So it's the same type of principle. Obviously, they're not going to be playing for 25 years. But, what's it going to be when you are together in each other's faces for 6, 7 months? How do you get along? Yeah. You're spending so much time with these people, and it's a small group, and you can't really get lost. So how's it going to be? You're trying to figure all that stuff out. How are you going to handle the media? Because the media is going to come to you and ask you questions. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever it might be. How do you present yourself? How articulate are you? How comfortable are you speaking to strangers? Because everyone that he comes in, whoever it might be, they're all going to be strangers.
It's all new.
Yeah. How much?
There's no way you got relationships here, right?
Fill in the blank player. Well, how much do you know Darryn Jackson? You got to get to know Darryn Jackson, because Darryn Jackson is going to be a crucial component to this team. And you got to get along with him because he's the vet. It's not so much he has to get along with you. You got to get along with him. You got to fit in at the start. And then 5 years later, there'll be some other snot-nosed kid who's got to fit in with you.
Snot-nosed. Everybody's got to have a runny nose when they're young.
Right. I mean, it's a cliche.
It is.
Right? So you got to. There's a game that you have to play. Right? And how are you adaptable in that situation? And the people who have been so influential in your life can still have influence, but it's going to dissipate over time.
For no other reason than time. I mean, time guarantees it. You're going to spend so much time with the team, with your teammates and your assistant coaches, your coaches, and strength and conditioning on down the line. And you spend so much time in the building with them, all the people you've been spending time with, there's no longer availability, at least in the same amount. I mean, you still maintain some of those relationships. Guys talk about how influential their college coach is, and parents and family and friends will blow up their phone. Well, the reason to blow up their phone is you're not right beside them like you used to be.
And your father or whoever your handlers are not going to have an influence on your playing time anymore.
It's a different deal.
Will Hardy is.
Yes, it's a very different deal. And if they try to retain some of that power, Will take it away from them, and quickly.
Yeah.
Coaches always talk about all, and actually coaches at every level talk about all the voices in players' heads and in their ears, and all the stuff they're hearing. They can hear it from friends, they can hear it from family, they can hear it from roommates, kids on campus, they can hear it from the media. I mean, they just have long lines of, how did these parents just kind of let it go now, or are they still trying to stay front and center? And agents, who your agent is, for sure. Teams absolutely notice that. And now colleges are noticing that.
I'm covering the Utes in the 90s, and the season starts. Mm-hmm. And Majerus, who could be tough, everybody knows that, right? First several games, post-game, he makes it a point to praise this one player.
A role player.
A little bit better than a role player.
A good role player. Okay.
A decently high enough, but not the star by any stretch. Star's Van Horn all the way, right? And Majerus keeps bringing up this player multiple times.
And Pat Kinahan's nose.
Yeah.
Is sniffing it out. Like, wow, he doesn't compliment a lot of players. And if he does, you think he'd compliment the star. Here's a good player.
Right.
And
I'm wondering, what is going on?
He's getting more post-game comments than all the other guys combined.
So antenna just zooms up to the sky, right? And I'm there home and away, so I'm there all the time as a beat guy. And I said, something's going on here, right? So I do a little digging, and then I find out that the guy's father had been in Majerus' ear the entire summer.
Mm-hmm.
You got to pub my son more. Yeah. He's not getting blah, 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 blah. And Majerus did that to satisfy the dad. And that's at high-level college. This team was a really good team, obviously. And so he's doing that. Well, but that's over this year.
Yeah. See, that's a different deal because Majerus playing every angle and doing nothing just because he's really smart and really analytical, is thinking, well, I might need that guy in recruiting. I certainly don't need that guy going back and telling AAU teams bad stuff. So I gotta tamp this down a little bit.
Right.
But the NBA coach doesn't have to worry about that.
No.
So he's not going to have the same motivation Rick had.
Right.
Yeah. And you were telling a story, but I think it was off the air. You were telling me a story about listening to a parent of a high school age kid complain to a coach about how many shots because they're in the recruiting process. And you're sitting there and you're out of state in a relaxed vacation type setting, and you got an angry parent hollering about shots. Well, I don't know who the Jazz are going to draft
in the AAU circuit.
In an AAU circuit, right? Yeah. I don't know who the Jazz are going to draft. I mean, I have my guesses, but I don't really know, and I don't know who Washington's going to draft. So I don't know which player I'm talking about, but I'm pretty sure Will Hardy wants 0 phone calls from any of their parents about how many FGAs whoever is getting. And it's going to be an issue. You brought this up. It's like Lowry's going to get his shots. He's 7 feet tall, and he's a proven scorer. Jaren Jackson is going to get his shots.
Right.
Keontae figures to have the ball, and he didn't seem very shy. He's going to get his shots. I mean, not enough shots, too many shooters, not enough shots, PK. Bring it back.
Well, which is a good problem to have.
It is. Especially because guys aren't going to play all 82.
Shooters.
Too many shooters, too many shots, not enough shots to go around for all the shooters.
Shooters. Give me another shooters.
Too many shooters, too many shots, not enough shots to go around for all the shooters.
Yeah.
Not enough shots to go around for all the shooters.
Underground hit.
Thank you, Johnny. I hadn't heard that in a while. Thank you, Yak.
Underground
hit.
hit.
That. When I remembered that, I wasn't sure how easy it was for you to get to. That was pretty good. Too many shooters, too many shots, not enough shots to go around for all the shooters. There's the live version before Johnny.
Well, that's the acapella.
Yes. It's the acapella. That's the live acapella version, not the studio. Johnny and I went in the studio and created an underground hit.
Are you Chief Keef?
I am not, but I should be.
Because AJ Dybantsa was, I saw another thing, he was presented, they were trying to do a thing where, determining on where he would like to go.
Mm-hmm.
So they asked him about his musical tastes, and they listed 4 artists, and they were all related to the top 4 picks.
Mm-hmm.
So you had...
So like if he listens to Elvis, he wants to go to Memphis?
That would be the classic example.
Right.
Chief Keef, who I'm sure you know.
Absolutely not. Also from Memphis?
Chicago.
Okay, Chicago. For the Bulls.
Kid was 16 years old. He's got like you. He's got the rap sheet to give him the street cred. You can look this up, Chief Keef.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's not his real name.
No. You're kidding me.
16 years old, he gets a lady pregnant who's 20 years older.
Really?
Oh, he's got street cred.
Street cred.
Yeah, big. I thought of you immediately. I thought about calling you Chief DJ. And then, who do you think was the Utah one?
Were they born in Utah?
Yeah, born or linked to.
Yeah.
Well, strongly linked. It's not the Osmonds. It's not She Daisy. It's not Archuleta. What? He's a singer.
He is.
I know he is.
Young Boy Never Broke Again?
No.
Okay. Oh.
Imagine Dragons.
Ding dong. So Dybantsa went with the Chief. And then, of course, that would indicate you'd want to be drafted by Chicago. And then he did food, and I don't remember, he did Jell-O or whatever we have here. I forget what it was. But it was it was actually entertaining.
Yeah.
So they did 4, and they tried to connect it, some geographical association.
I wonder what the food would be in D.C.
I don't know.
Barbecue from Memphis.
I can't remember.
Steak for Chicago.
No, deep dish.
Oh, deep dish. Okay.
Which I don't like compared to thin crust. But that's where I grew up.
Right.
Thin crust, so it's what you know. So obviously that's what I know. But yeah, and so it was a fascinating little thing that they did, and he played along. He has a good personality. Seems like he is always willing to play along.
That will help make him a media favorite. People will come in with their storylines, and he'll play along. And
yeah, although, but I mean, this is
going.
loose when you get down to the season. It's business.
It is different, yeah.
And it's about production.
Right.
Especially for this club next year, it's going to be, to a large extent, if not completely, about production, which is cool. It's going to be about winning. The success is going to be determined upon winning. It's not going to be some development by some kid in the third quarter. That stuff is over. Did you win or not?
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. More on the draft. Ben Anderson joins us from New York at the top of the hour. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeCoq.
He is the president of basketball operations for the Utah Jazz. Austin Ainge, kind enough to join us. Can you go anywhere without anybody trying to say, hey, Austin, just between you and me, just, come on.
Oh, everywhere I walk, yeah, people ask, but we don't tell anybody. I don't tell my wife. I don't tell I don't tell some of the people on my staff that I work with every day where I'm leaning. Like, on top of the competitive advantages and the trades that could kill and some of the other things that would harm, there's huge betting markets now. And
that's true.
Some guy I play golf with makes $500,000 on who the draft is, and then the FBI's knocking on my door. We can't be having that.
No. We don't want any of that.
No. And that may be in the news right now, so you want to avoid that for sure.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
KSL Sports Zone and Beehive Meals are honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com/contest and listen every Thursday afternoon to Jake and Ben for the winner. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. Got another question up on the Facebook page. We were talking about Darryn Peterson in the last segment and meeting with the Jazz as a calm your fears. That's about the now. This question is about the future. Draft day is here. In 5 years, what will we be saying about this year's Jazz draft pick? Adam says we'll be saying, look at all the draft picks we got from New Orleans and the trade we just pulled off before that guy could leave in free agency.
What a downer.
Adam, way down.
No, New Orleans is not going to trade for somebody who can leave in free agency, because if that's the case, he's going to leave New Orleans.
That's true. Pick the wrong example.
The first 20 most important sports are football.
Right. Pick Philadelphia or pick Boston. Well, pick Cleveland again, but don't pick New Orleans.
Miami's always a fashionable place.
Jesse says in 5 years, we've said it was a good draft pick, as long as they draft Dybantsa or Peterson. If they draft someone else, it's honestly a toss-up if they'll be good or not.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. I think there's others who are going to be. In fact, I know there are others who are going to be good. Now, you want to debate who are those guys? That's fine. But I think that's what you're going to get. I'm looking for, not that it was a good draft pick, because I think that's easy. You want a foundation piece. That's the hard part. You can get good players regularly, and they have good players, but they need some great top-end talent. That's the difference. That's always going to be the difference. And it's not necessarily always going to be in the top 2 or 3, although you're playing the odds, and that's more likely. As we know, 2 guys in the last 4 years, the leaders of their teams, were second-round picks. Amazing. But nevertheless. And it's somehow, the more questions you have, if they are not answered, well, it was a second-round pick. I get that, right? If Jokic hadn't materialized, well, so what? Or if Brunson was just, a bench guy who contributed a little bit here and there, okay, he's a second-round pick.
No.
So you can't have that with the second pick in the draft. You just can't have that, especially this year, especially for a team that's lost 4 in a row of seasons, have been this is the whole point of those seasons is tonight. This is the very point. There's not a better illustration of why you did what you did than tonight.
Get a player who moves the needle big time and will for years to come. Yeah. That is the quest. And you might stumble into Giannis or Kawhi in the middle of the first round, or Brunson and Joker in the second round. But you've tanked for 4 straight years, and you got the number 2 pick and a good draft. So how about hitting on this? And then if you hit on another guy who's a big-time player with pick 19, great. You're really building something.
Yeah. I mean, George was a 16, Filipowski's second round, and we know who they are. But I can argue that tonight is the most impactful decision that this new ownership / administrative group has before them. Not trading Mitchell and Gobert and for the products you got back, which, you got back some decent talent, Kessler and obviously Lowry and some others. But this one has the potential to be and should be considered the most important decision.
The expectation. Because there's a little bit of potential in these other picks and in these other players, but the expectation, when you're drafting number 2 in what is being hailed as a very good draft, you need to get someone who can drive the bus for the next decade plus.
And that's why it's that important, because there is a decent chance that somebody that you don't take will be one of those guys.
There is a decent chance because there's that much talent in the draft.
So it's whoever you draft combined with whoever you don't draft. Why didn't you take that guy? Now, maybe it doesn't matter. Hopefully for them and all the fans, our listeners, it doesn't matter. That if somebody else is a foundation piece after you, good on them, but you got the right guy. And once you get the right guy, it doesn't matter what is after you. You got the guy you were supposed to get. And if they get that player, then they're good to go. And they have that opportunity.
Matt says, I'm going to be optimistic. 5 years from now, we're going to be singing, Freddie, we are the champions.
The Merc?
The Merc.
I hope so. That'd be awesome, man. I want a title in this town for the fans.
I totally get that.
I used to say when they were really good and they were competing for the title, I wanted it for Larry, number 1. I wanted it for Jerry, number 2. And I wanted it for the fans, number 3. I didn't really even care about the players.
Standing out doing a live shot on 300 West the night they beat the Bulls in Game 4 in 97, and people were losing their minds like they just won the title. And I remember standing there thinking, it's 2-2. This is just hit the reset button and start over. It's the best 2 out of 3. And people were so happy. I mean, granted, it was 2-0, and they probably felt like, oh, no, we're going to get run off the floor here. This is trending really poorly. And Game 4 was super exciting finish. So I get all that. But I remember thinking, as happy as people are, this feels pretty over the top. But if they're like this at 2-2, what's this going to look like if they win for the 3rd and 4th time? Of course, they didn't, so we don't know, and that question still looms, but I get your point.
Well, Jordan was the ultimate Lucy.
He'll lose a game or two. He never swept an NBA Finals.
He put the ball there to think you had a chance to kick it.
On the one hand, I'm not sweeping it. That'd be a lot of effort. But on the other hand, I'm not letting you play Game 7.
No, it's got to be dramatic.
Yeah, I think he only played 3 Game 7s in his entire career.
He was a drama king.
Yeah.
So he let you think you had a chance. and they did, obviously.
But he was good at slamming the door on your fingers.
I want to see the fans celebrate wildly. The ownership hasn't paid the price enough. It'll be cool for them, but they haven't suffered.
Yeah, by that time you were 15 years in with Larry?
Yeah.
We weren't personally. We hadn't been here the whole time. But
right, and Jerry Sloan, a grinder from birth.
Yeah.
He probably 6 months he was out driving tractors.
Yeah. And they worked really hard at selling the team in an era when you had to. It's a little easier now with all the national TV money pouring in.
Right.
But as Jerry once said after a marathon interview session, man, you You stand out for you're easy to deal with. Why? And he pointed at the floor. He said, I remember walking out there when there were only 4,000 people. He said, I don't take any of this for granted. Put in a lot of time. All right, DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're taking a break, and when we come back, Ben Anderson joins us from the Big Apple. He's there for the draft. Co-host to Jake and Ben, KSL Sports Utah Jazz Insider. He was there for all the media interviews. We'll talk with him about what he heard and what he saw, and we will do that next. Stay with us. Join Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe Wednesday 10 to 2 at RGS Exteriors at 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. DJ PK, and we're joined by Ben Anderson, co-host Jake and Ben, KSL Sports Utah Jazz Insider. Ben, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you actually in New York and not in New Jersey right now, are you? PK wants to know.
I'm in New York. I'm looking at the Empire State Building.
Oh, nice. Have you learned anything new about the draft since you arrived in the Big Apple, or is it all still a mystery despite the conversations and interviews?
Feels like the cement is slowly hardening. It feels like it's getting a little, what I think the expectations have been now for a little bit seem to be solidifying. It seems like AJ Dybantsa is becoming more and more the favorite to go number 1 overall. And then, I guess the big news yesterday was that Darryn Peterson did end up reconnecting with the Jazz in the last week after a week ago Monday. He canceled his workout with the expectation that he was going to be the number 1 overall pick.
Why be coy as far as where he met with them? What was the purpose?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. And that's been a little bit strange throughout this entire process. Even Washington, it was kind of unclear whether he actually went to Washington and visited their facilities or what had happened there. If you went back to Shams Charania's tweet, he said they met and that the Wizards had seen him in Los Angeles, but they didn't really indicate that he'd been to Washington. Now, yesterday he said he was in D.C. And had been there. So I'm not sure why there's this kind of game that's being played about where he has been or has not been. But I think the Jazz saw him or talked to him at least over like a Zoom call. I do not think he's been to Utah.
I was curious all along if he was only doing an interview with them because somehow the hand had been tipped and he thought he was going number 1, or if that was kind of trying to put out there, well, obviously I'm the number 1 pick and I'm not going to interview with anybody else, and seeing if he could kind of guide the process. But now that he's met with the Jazz and he's confirmed it himself, I guess I go back to your point about the cement hardening. I was starting to think that he was going to go 1 and AJ was going to go 2. Now I'm flipping that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I kind of thought maybe that would be the case, and certainly the reports that I had last week was the belief with a couple of different camps that Darryn was going to be the number 1 overall pick, but does not seem like anyone's all that secure in that thought. And I think Peterson's camp probably visited the Wizards and thought they had such a good workout that it could be no choice but him. And then they realized over the last week, oh, well, AJ also had a good visit. And again, none of these guys are working out or doing anything. They're just sitting and talking and, going to dinner or going to breakfast. And I'm sure that seems like it goes well for everybody. So I'm guessing it was more posturing than it was, real intel from Peterson's side.
That's what makes this draft so intriguing, and the fact that the Jazz had the number 2 pick. If it was the number 7 pick, it wouldn't be as enthralling for us. But the fact that they do have the number 1 pick, or number 2 pick, I should say, and we don't know this close who's going to be the number 1 pick in what order. Just the intrigue and the buzz when you were in that room. I covered 1 draft, and all of my great luck is when they used to move it around, and I got stuck going to Charlotte, North Carolina. Nothing against Charlotte, North Carolina, but as a guy...
But you're from Jersey, and you want to go to New York. Let's just say it.
My mother worked at the City College of New York every day, and I used to have an uncle who would take me into off-track betting, so I have a deep history with the city. But no, I was in Charlotte. Plus, that draft... we knew Duncan was going to go 1, and we knew Van Horn was going to go number 2. So I'm wondering, as you're in that room yesterday, because I did the same thing where they have the breakouts and all that, how much, and you have nothing to compare it to compared to what mine, I understand that, but I'm just wondering if there was a buzz in there, because this is so rare that it's such a mystery with the draft just hours away.
Yeah, I was at the Andrew Wiggins draft, and that was obvious he was going to go number 1, and Jabari was going to go 2. And then there were some questions about what was going to happen 3, 4, 5, and obviously Dante Exum ends up slipping to the Jazz at 5 when they thought they were going to get Aaron Gordon. So this feels a little There's less buzz, I think, inside the building because it was like a big deal when Andrew Wiggins walked in the last time because Wiggins was going to be the guy and he had this very loud suit on. And I think everyone was kind of excited to see those players. I do think this mystery is a shroud that's kind of hanging over everybody. And look, Darryn Peterson said yesterday, talking to him, said everyone's got a good poker face. He says he doesn't know what's going on. AJ Dybantsa keeps talking about either the Jazz or the Wizards. He clearly doesn't know if he's going to be the number 1 or the number 2 overall pick. Boozer, I don't want to say he was aloof, but he certainly wasn't alluding to being the number 1 overall pick either. So I do think those questions have put a bit of a shroud over this draft. And I think it makes it more fun for the fans. And the fact that all three of these guys are so different. You've got a very true kind of throwback power forward. You've got kind of the prototypical wing, though there's obviously shooting questions with AJ Dybantsa. And then you have a potential superstar guard in a league there where 2 guards aren't really in vogue all that much anymore. So it's really strange on that front that there's 3 guys who do things completely differently, and you've got to project the future of what the NBA is going to look like.
The early talk about the Wizards maybe trading out of number 1, trading with the Jazz, the price tag was so high. You know, as soon as you hear Ace Bailey, I'm like, oh, come on. But now we're down to the last few hours. What about the thought that the Wizards maybe have played a great poker hand? Nobody really knows what's going on. They haven't shown their cards. So could they come back to the Jazz and say, give us some future picks, whether they're yours or somebody else's, whether they're in a year, 2, 3, whatever, and 1 or 2 of your younger players, not named Ace Bailey, maybe not even named Keontae. Maybe it's Collier, Filipowski, somebody. Do you think the Jazz go for a deal like that to move up to number 1, where the price tag – it's significant. It's meaningful. The Wizards can get an extra pick or 2, an extra young player, whatever it is they value. But it's not backing up the truck.
No, I don't think anyone backs up the truck to move up 1 spot, regardless of where you are in the draft. Even, especially this late in the process now. If there was a clear-cut, obvious number 1 guy, maybe. But 1 to 2, with how close these guys are, yeah, maybe you could get an extra first-round draft pick out of this, but I don't think there would be a lot of young players. Or you would get just a young player, but no, it wouldn't be Ace Bailey or Keontae George, certainly. It would be a much smaller role player, I think, that maybe has some upside that could fill a need. But I think if you're Washington in that sense, you have to think the top 2 guys are very close, and your goal is, well, if I get another asset, then I, intrinsically just have more value coming out of the draft than anybody else does, because we don't know who's going to be the best player 2 or 3 years from now. But I just don't get that impression. I don't really see a world where they move down. Of course, anything could change. And while you said the Wizards played, have had a good poker face throughout this. So have the Jazz. We don't know what the Jazz actually want to do. We don't know who's number 1 on their board. I think the assumption would be AJ Dybantsa, but I think there's a real world where it's Darryn Peterson. And then I won't be surprised if tonight at 2, the Jazz take Cam Boozer. And that's just what a mystery this draft has become. But by doing that, they have made it hard for anyone around them to leverage the pick or leverage extra value out of it.
What do you think that the point of them, the Jazz, meeting with Peterson, wherever it was, whenever it was, in this past week, that they were looking for a particular type of information?
I think it's always good to check back in when you're not at the combine. Maybe you get a little bit more time with them. You might be in the same room. You might not be in the same room, just to see how they've responded to the process and see how they're feeling. Whatever you missed in your draft combine interview, if you can go back and revisit it, or maybe you left with some questions. I do think there's always still value there. But yeah, just an interview process, if it's not going to be, an actual in-person dinner or breakfast the next day, I'm sure it's not as beneficial. But I would imagine anything is better than nothing at this point. And then gauge how comfortable they are if they do end up in Utah now. The lottery was like the 13th, 11th, somewhere around May.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about, 6 weeks later. How have they changed? How have they adapted? Has their tune changed a little bit as they've gotten more intel? I think that's always a part of the value.
I asked you about the Jazz maybe trading up to 1. What do you think about any chance there could be a trade down to 3? I mean, for the people who think they like Boozer and they played their cards well, could they get the Grizzlies to trade up?
Yeah, could the Grizzlies give up a first-round pick? Sure. I mean, if the Jazz feel like, the Grizzlies think they have to have Cam Boozer. It seems like Cam Boozer is the favorite in Memphis. And if the Jazz have put on a good enough poker face that they feel like, oh, maybe Cam goes 2 and we simply can't exit this draft without getting our guy, would they throw in an extra draft pick? I think those conversations have to be had, and there has to be, I'm sure the Wizards have, or I should say the Grizzlies have gauged the interest of, what the Jazz is of trading down, and even what the Wizards would be of trading down. I think you probably have to do that due diligence. I mean, you guys had Austin Ainge on, and he scoffed at the idea that you do that right after the lottery.
Yeah.
But it's been 6 weeks. You have a lot of time to talk and see what's going on and see what's out there. You might as well see what the value of your pick or the other team's picks are.
Here's what I want. Whoever they take when they announce the first one and then the Utah Jazz are on the clock, 30 seconds later they have the pick. That sends the message, we got our guy. This is who we wanted all along. From a PR stance, that would be just brilliant. So I would advise you to tell them that on behalf of me.
You want me to go track down Derek and let him know how to handle this process?
Yeah, get right on it, man. Doesn't that send a powerful message? Oh, this is who we wanted all the way. Yeah.
I think the Jazz will be excited with whatever happens. I do think there's going to be, some sense of running to the podium to make the selection. These three players specifically are so different than anyone they've drafted, really, and honestly, in my lifetime. The talent level is significantly higher than the rest of the players they've brought into Utah. Now we'll see how they develop, but the starting point is so high.
And in your lifetime, Ben, and I believe this month, you have a double changer on your age numbers.
I did. I moved to the big 4-0.
He says with as little enthusiasm as possible.
Well, Ben is not a hyperbolic guy.
He is not. But he's got a dry sense of humor. It's the wind blowing in off the desert.
Yeah.
I think that to your point about they're going to be happy, whoever they get at number 2, and I think, didn't we have that confirmed when we saw the video of the actual draft lottery happen and we saw Austin Ainge's celebration and fist pump? They'd already evaluated the guys, and yes, there's details to learn and T's to cross, I's to dot and all that stuff. But that fist pump says, I've watched a lot of basketball, and there's 3 really good players at the top of the draft, and we're picking second.
Yeah, there was another video the Jazz released, actually kind of sitting in the audience when the lottery was announced, not the actual draft situation with the lottery balls, but kind of when they announced it on TV, and it was Danny Ainge, was Justin Zanuck, and I think Avery Bradley, and they all fist bumped when they found out they had the number 2 pick, and they were excited. Yeah, you know, this 4 years has been pretty brutal if you're a Jazz fan. It has been about trying to get a premier talent, and maybe you end up getting that with Keontae George, or maybe Ace Bailey ends up developing into that. But having a player like Darryn Peterson or AJ Dybantsa or Cam Boozer fall into your lap at the very end of this process, I think probably justifies a lot of it for them, at least something to sell, at least something that they can be excited about. Now they've got to grow this player into a true superstar in the next phase of the franchise, but at least you've got a chance to do it. You're not just, picking in the dark. This is there's a real chance that this player does end up becoming the best player on the roster in a few years.
Did you see the Carlos Boozer quote?
Which one?
Where he basically said, if you don't draft Cameron, you will regret it.
Yeah, he says his son's the best winner in this group. And, it's pretty hard to argue with what his resume has shown, that Cam has won throughout high school. Was it 4 state championships in the state of Florida, and becomes the player of the year at Duke, and, not just the ACC player of the year, but the National College player of the year. And his numbers were unmatched. He is unique in that front. He's got one of the best resumes we've ever seen from a player coming out of high school or coming out of college, whether that's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or LeBron James or now Cam Boozer. I mean, he is in truly elite company when it comes to his history to this point.
So I'm wondering, do you think that maybe that's a little subliminal message or maybe even direct message to the Jazz?
I think there's probably some fathering going on in there, but yeah. I'm sure Carlos is campaigning for Cam. I mean, I think that would make sense. And obviously it's not the cleanest fit with the Jazz, though fit can't matter that much at this point, but no, I mean, there's a real, that I'm sure there are people within the Jazz's front office. I can't confirm this, but I'm sure there are people who have Cam Boozer number 1 on their board. I don't think, if you believe the numbers you look at, and as I've been told, he's a mile ahead of everybody analytically and everything they look at, that you can at the very least consider him.
Right.
Fit doesn't worry me at all. They just need to pick the best player. And given how many games guys are sitting out, and given how many different positions guys can play these days, I just have zero worry about fit. Even with Jackson and Markkanen, there'll be time for him. There'll be combinations to play. I don't see why that should even be part of the discussion. Just pick the best player. Pick the best player, and it'll be if that's Boozer, the playing time will work out fine.
And in all honesty, I think there's an argument that you actually look at the Jazz's timeline and Boozer might be the best fit, because at some point you're going to have to pick between Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr., and then Cam Boozer slides right in. I don't think you're trying to do that with Ace Bailey. And if you take AJ Dybantsa, then you have that question. And if you take Darryn Peterson, you have the question with either Ace Bailey or Keontae George. So, yeah, I'm not sure that there really is a perfectly clean fit for anybody on this roster 3 years from now. Each one of these guys, assuming they develops, is going to probably push somebody out of Utah.
Right. So I think fit needs to be considered. I'm not saying it needs to be considered number one, but I think it needs to be considered, because if you got somebody ahead of you, or is it potentially that Darryn Peterson stifles Ace Bailey's growth? I mean, you can make a case for that. So I don't think it's not the most important thing. But, and I like to push against conventional thinking anyway, we all know that I think it's something that you should be aware of at minimal.
And you should be aware of, what the trade market is for Lauri Markkanen if he ends up out there, and how that could complete your roster. Ideally, this is a team that's trying to compete for a championship or in 2 or 3 years. So, what's going to be that last piece that pushes you over the edge? Who's going to be, your Karl Anthony Towns that comes into the Knicks that kind of gets you where you're trying to go? And then what's your best way of actually getting that next player? Is it by trading an Ace Bailey? Is it by trading a Keontae George? Is it by trading a Lauri Markkanen? And those are questions for probably 24, 36 months from now, but that certainly probably has to be a part of the equation. These front offices think so far down the line when they're building out their teams. I know it's not really what fans want to think of. They want to think of this entire group being together, but the next time the Jazz are really, really good, at least one of these faces is likely going to be gone.
And there's no way to guess which one right now, is there?
No, I don't think so.
Because you don't know who the Jazz are drafting. Yeah.
Hey, 3 years from now, what's our confidence level that we know who the best player on the Jazz is going to be? I think there's a case it's Keontae. I think there's a case it's Ace Bailey. There's a case it's whoever they draft today. And there's a case it's still Jaren Jackson Jr., who was probably the best player today and is only 26 years old and should only be getting better for the next few seasons.
Yeah, which I think is actually a good problem to have if that's the case. I think that's exciting for the future, that you are set up to win if you play your cards right and all that stuff. With that in mind, have you had some New York pizza yet?
I haven't had any pizza yet. We had a hot dog at the Yankees game on Sunday. That was fun. But we'll probably have to stop and grab some pizza before the trip is over.
Yeah. If not, don't come back.
You got a spot, PK?
Any of them. Yeah, there's a million of them. I have one particular one across the bridge, but I don't think you have wheels to get over there.
No.
New York thin crust or Chicago deep dish?
No, there's no question.
I've only had Chicago deep dish one time. That was at the All-Star game in 2020, but it was inside the Bulls arena, and that's not really a good way to judge it. Okay. So I'll go with New York for now.
All right, there it is. And reserve the right to change your mind.
I always can.
All right, Ben, we will hear you 2 o'clock today. Your show with Jake. And then the draft tonight, tracking things down. Where do they put you for the draft? What's the setup? Do you know? Do you know how this is going to
work? In the past, you've just kind of been in the stands. They have like a media setup, so I'm sure that'll be the same area. But this will be different. I'm not going to go park anywhere, because I'm going to try and be down on the floor when AJ or Darryn or Cam Boozer gets selected, and then I'm going to follow him into the media room, and then it's right to work. So there's not going to be a lot of sitting and watching tonight.
Yeah, you're not going to. I can remember because Keith went second, and I didn't get back out until the main room when they were on 26 or something.
Oh, yeah.
And I started looking at the names, because it's cool that your guy, or your team, in this case, I was a guy, not a team. You're a team, not a guy. And then once that team or guy is selected, then you just focus on that, and the night seems to just blow by.
Yeah, and then you sit and wait till they make them available to you. So that'll be my evening.
All right. Well, Ben, we appreciate a few minutes. Thanks for joining us, and go get that pizza.
My pleasure.
All right. Ben Anderson, 2 o'clock today with Jake, right here on The Zone. NHL draft's coming up Thursday and Friday. We're going to talk with Stephen Ellis, NHL draft and prospects analyst for the Daily Faceoff at 9 o'clock. It's a double draft kind of week right here on The Zone. DJ PK, stay with us.
Welcome to This is Jay Scott and Ben Anderson.
Everything I have heard, Walker loves Utah. Walker wants to be in Utah. Walker's happy in Utah. Walker would prefer to end up in Utah, but he just wants as much money as possible.
He was around the team an incredible amount last year.
Yep, he was.
He was with them on the road on trips that he absolutely did not need to go to for a player that shut it down for the entire year. And he was with them at the end of the year, again, where he had even less incentive to be with the team, around the players, around the new players in Jaren Jackson Jr.
The Jazz love Walker the person. They really like Walker the player. They want him to be a part of their team. But you can't pay the wrong person too much money because then you're not building a championship team anymore. You know, you're not building a contending team. You're just paying your dudes because you like your dudes, and that's not the job. You've got to get everybody in the right place at the right price.
Catch Jake and Ben afternoons from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Join the KSL Sports Zone Thursday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. live at Kenny J's Barbecue at the District in South Jordan. 11610 District Drive.
Again, we'll be there beyond 6.
Who will be the best player in the 2026 NBA Draft? Put a question up, PK, on our on Twitter. You can vote. David DJ James, 45.5% for AJ, 40 for DP. Booze with 11% of the vote and 3.5% for other. Please explain.
I want to clarify. We'll be there till 6, but the Kenny J's is open beyond 6.
Yes.
Is what I meant. Good food down there.
I've eaten at Kenny J's multiple times.
I can tell.
Order a little takeout.
A lot of takeout. What are you pointing at yourself for? You can eat and still then have to gain a bunch of weight.
That was not the implication, but let's talk NBA draft.
That's not true.
We got all summer for this nonsense.
A lot
the draft
there
is tonight
because the food is good. That's what I meant.
True story. There's a lot to sample there.
There really is. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think there's so many factors to go into it, and I think it's so cool that this is so different in terms of the unknown. And, boy, I wonder what I don't know how they track the rating at when the Jazz pick, but what it's going to be along the Wasatch Front. It's going to be like 90%. Everybody wants to know. Even if you're a casual, you want to know who the heck they're going to draft and how's it going to work out and how's the fit going to be and who they passed on. That's what's a cool thing, too, is not just who you draft, but indirectly, obviously, is who you passed on, who you took and who you passed on. Because that'll be something that'll be debated for the next 15 years. And when's that ever happened?
It's an unusual draft. There's no way around it. And we may well be sitting here with there's never been a draft like it. That is possible.
Well, there may be other drafts like it, but if the Jazz are drafting 20th, who cares?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. And so since the fact that they're right in the guts of this thing, that just makes it so much more prominent and important.
I like that.
Yeah.
Right in the guts of this thing.
They are. They're not on the fringe.
I like it.
They're right in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't get any more in the middle of it.
There are super interesting questions out there about if you're drafting 5, 6, 7, 8, which of those players will excel, and one of them probably will. But those questions don't resonate here because the Jazz are in the guts of it.
They are.
Number 2, where the bigger players go for all the people who care about the measurables.
And I can't speak to Washington or Memphis, but I'm sure they may have the same. They might have the same type of thing. But here, this isn't a once in a time deal. This is a 4-year wait. We have been waiting 4 years.
And nobody wants to wait 4 more years. Yeah. 4 more
for the moment that is about to be here for all of us.
Shape the franchise for better or worse or pretty good or indifferent or whatever. Wherever it ends up falling on the scale.
You can look back. Like if your kid is in high school and you're in high school or whatever it might be, college, and you say, man, those 4 years really went by. I always like to interview seniors in the last week and say, hey, man, reflect on your college. Oh, my gosh, I can't believe it. I was just a freshman. But somehow, when I look back at these last 4 years of the Jazz, I can't say, my gosh, that time just flew by. No, it seems like it dragged on and on and on when it comes to the Jazz in the last 4 years. It seems like it's in life, those last 4 years, it just blew by. Not this franchise this time. This has been a slog at a snail's pace. And here we are now. And a large portion of this piece is going to be determined tonight. This is just an incredible moment that is upon us, and it's in a 4-year apprenticeship, basically, to get here. And finally, we're here.
It's a 4-year cycle.
And to me, it seems like it took a long, long time.
I get it. Time moves at the same rate, but when things are going poorly, it seems like time moves more slowly. You don't know for sure when you're getting out of it. I don't think any of us knew for sure, although I think we all felt it the day they traded for Jackson. That felt like, okay, now we're getting out of it. Got to get through the last half season, get the pick, which the Jazz will make tonight, and then it's on to the Summer League. Let's see the pick, and everything starts going.
When they made that trade, okay, the intent was to win this season, but we still didn't know if they were going to keep the pick. We still had no idea where they'd be in the lottery form, and most people are doom and gloomers when it comes to our Jazz.
And
hearts are broken constantly.
The doom and gloomers, the coin flip fell their way. They could be Sacramento drafting 7.
And we didn't know that
Turned
at the
out
time.
every loss mattered.
Now we know, and it is upon us. And there's some people who have trepidation thinking, oh, my gosh, don't blow it. I don't really have that in this case because I feel like I've studied these kids up and down, inside and out, that they can get a really good player. If I had to handicap it and who they're going to get, I would go Dybantsa 1, Boozer 2, Peterson 3.
So you're still thinking Peterson's going to be the top pick?
Or they drops to 3rd.
The only way they don't get Dybantsa is if Washington takes him.
Correct.
I'd agree with that.
But I think they like Boozer. And Boozer is...
There's a lot to like.
You can't say any of these kids are certainly not finished products, not even close. But I could argue that Cameron Boozer is the most proven product. I can argue that very easily.
You can. I can see why you would say that.
Yeah. I won't say the word finished because that's ridiculous.
None of them are finished.
No teenager is
had
finished.
that quote earlier, right.
Yeah. That just doesn't happen.
Look at all the awesome players in the history of the league. A lot of them weren't even in the league as a teenager.
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, if you're looking for proven production, it's like those game shows. I got a pretty good prize here. Okay, do I want to go? And it always bugs me, too. The person who gets first choice of the showcase, they always give that to the other guy. What's wrong with writing in front of you, man? Why do you have to give the other... They always do it. And on Match Game, they always had to choose Richard. Why? Every time.
Because everybody else is going to screw that up.
That's not true.
I can't help you with the showcase, but I can tell you about Match Game.
One time in the Match Game, it was blank butter, and they went to Richard, and he said churned butter. It's peanut
butter.
And so Richard was not always right.
Maybe the fix was in. Maybe it's Polymarket.
Churned butter? I don't know what the contestant's name was. I don't know if it was Polly or whoever. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But I just remember his answer was churned butter. No. And they always got to give away the showcase every time. And they have to come up with a rule. There has to be at least a $50 differential. No, one guy can't go $500.
Oh, yeah. You go 500 and
I
I go 501 and then just lean over and punch me in the face.
Yeah. And believe me, I would love to do that.
I know. That's why I use that as an example. I thought you'd find that very satisfying.
With that in mind, they should have modified the rules. But you got something really good here. Why do I have to worry about what's in the other showcase? Just make sure I come under, don't go over. And I never understood that. I could be $5,000 under, but if you're $1 over, I lose? No. It should be the differential from the actual price, over or under. Baseball modified rules. I don't understand why the Price is Right can't. Makes no sense to me. So with that in mind, they may decide, hey, Boozer is a player, man, and we know we're the most sure in an unsure situation, which is somewhat of an oxymoron, what we're going to get if we go with Boozer. And do we really want to upset Carlos and CeCe?
You're going to upset somebody. It doesn't matter. Just pick the best player. When Austin wanted the job, he had to know the times you make a decision, somebody's going to like it, and a bunch of people are going to hate it. It's just the way it is. So, Carlos and CeCe, nice pull, though, on CeCe's name, though. That was good.
So,
hey, you're given a fact 20 years ago. You're not just going to randomly let that go.
No, I may pull things 4 or 5 years later. You never know. And just some random vacation spot. Who knows? With that in mind, why not go with the most proven product? Why not?
Because you don't think in 5 years he'll be the best player. Or in 10 years or 7 years or whatever time span you want. I mean, that's the argument.
But
I get your point on Boozer. He's won, he won in Florida. They got a ton of gazillion good athletes there. And he went to Duke, and he looked
a ton of
awesome.
gazillion.
A gazillion. There's a ton, a gazillion.
Not just a gazillion.
I weighed the good players, and then I counted.
A gazillion.
I have a new drop.
That is taking it.
Yes.
To the ultimate extreme.
That's what I was trying to do.
A ton of gazillion.
A ton of gazillion. Oh, that makes a hell of a sense. Play the hits. And,
a ton of gazillion.
A ton of gazillion. A ton, gazillion. Got a little sideways
you
there.
did.
I got a little sideways. Yeah, I did.
Gazillion.
I was skidding through turn 3, but I didn't hit the wall. I did not hit the wall.
A ton of gazillion athletes.
I did skid, and there's a chance someone could have passed me down low in the corner.
At Duke, they got 2 tons of gazillion athletes.
I really thought that deserved more of the horn. Try it again. Are you ready? Okay. A ton of gazillion.
A ton of gazillion athletes.
Man, when Brian wanted it, it was there. That's all I'll say.
And?
I'm going to put that on my tombstone. He interviewed a ton of gazillion
your
athletes.
Mausoleum. There we go. Thank you. That was well played.
So, what did you say after a ton of gazillion?
It doesn't really matter. At that point, the show ended.
A ton of gazillion.
A ton of gazillion. Yeah. No, I think the fits it better.
Wordsmith right there, man. A ton of gazillion.
Want to give the guy who's got to get to work at 9 o'clock something to talk about, and now he's got it. All right, we're going to take a break. You can
I want
regroup.
Austin Ainge. Get it back to Austin to where why'd you have Boozer? The guy's a winner, man. He played in high school in Florida. They got a ton of gazillion athletes there.
That'd be great. Maybe I can do that. Are you surprised that AJ isn't pulling away in the poll, that Peterson's doing so well, given the fact that we got a lot of BYU fans who can vote and love AJ? Or Peterson's really winning people over? Move that over. We'll get to that next. We'll update you on the poll. Vote online. Twitter, David DJ James. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Turn it up. Let's go. It's a new era for sports radio in Utah. This is the all-new KSL Sports Zone. As always, DJ and PK kick off your mornings from 6 to 10. Then introducing the newest addition to the KSL Sports Zone. The coach, Tim Lacombe, joins Scotty G every day from 10 to 2. And as you wrap up your day, Jake Scott and Ben Anderson are there with the best sports talk in Utah from 2 to 6. Live and local, all day, every day. Your home for the best sports radio in Utah is live, on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Join the KSL Sports Zone at JCW's in South Jordan for the NBA Draft Roundtable today. 2 to 6, 10660 South Riverfront Parkway. DJ and PK, I thought when we put up the poll question, BYU fans would swamp it and have AJ Dybantsa as the overwhelming choice as who will be the best player in the 2026 NBA draft, but it's very close. AJ getting 44% of the vote. DP getting 42% of the vote. Booze at 8%. And 5.5% for somebody else will end up being the top
So I
player.
think it's different, though. If you're a Jazz fan, it's more important that you get the best player.
Yep.
Not necessarily
the fan
BYU
favorite. The fan favorite.
A BYU. If you're a BYU fan and a Jazz fan, that doesn't necessarily mean you want Dybantsa there.
It does not necessarily, but I think that people see it through their blue-colored glasses. And
yeah, but that's two different things, though.
It is two different things, and clearly you are right about the way the early voters are saying it. The numbers speak for themselves here. Now, it's less than 100 votes, but nonetheless, it seems to have settled in here as people keep voting.
When we come back tomorrow after we get a ton of gazillion votes,
exactly,
then it'll be another story.
That was well said. You're a wordsmith.
I have been known.
I thought so. Utah Sanders says, hey, whoever the Jazz draft will be the best. Great development staff, great organization, great coach, fewer distractions. Don't matter. We'll make one of those three a star. Stardom is in the water. No. No. Sounds good, but no.
Well, I definitely think they can help him get better and put him in positions.
I agree with that. I agree with that
That's more
point.
of the role player type deal. I mean, Jerry Sloan was the master of taking role players and fitting them into the system and say, okay, here's what you need to do, son. And if you did it, you were going to make money in this league. And that was something that he had a proven track record. Would the statues have been stars anyplace else? I'd like to think so. Were they a great fit here? Yes. There's no question about that. Can they make somebody a star? I think they can make them better, but a star's got to come from within. I mean, you look at the true stars most recently. LeBron has bounced around. There's never been a player of his caliber move around so much, and he's been a star everywhere he goes. He can go to Neptune, wherever, he'll be a star. Kobe Bryant, I don't think he needed to be with the Lakers to be a star.
Yeah, I can see your point.
It was going to burn within him to be a star, to be the very best that he could be, and which then would make him one of the very best of all time.
With LeBron, I think Wilt's the only one who really compares as far as bouncing around like that for the game's elite players. By the time Shaq, maybe Shaq, because he did go Orlando to L.A. to Miami. Now, there was more at the end, but he was no longer a powerhouse. He was much more. He was way overweight and breaking down and more pedestrian at that point. But his dominant three teams.
Yeah, so stars are stars. And it's up to the individual to max out. And you want to be in the right situation. I think that that's what I think that you need to have. The old debate, is it who wins the titles, the players or the management? And my answer was always yes. Because I think you need to have everybody in line doing whatever your particular job is. You need to be doing it to the best of your ability, and everybody needs to be pulling in that same direction there.
And everybody needs to be good at their job. Otherwise, these jobs wouldn't matter.
That's what it was with BYU football at the before the magic happened stuff, is guys weren't pulling in the same direction. Bronco, he got, to his credit, everybody pulling in the same direction. And the results were basically immediately. Well, it just took a shift, and to stop with all this stuff.
Year one was better, and year two was really good.
Yeah, that was a 4-year run there. And year one, even though they went 6-6 or something like that,
it was still way better.
Yeah, and he was just laying the foundation for what was to become. And as a beat writer, you could literally see something that was invisible practically, which doesn't make sense, but you get the point. And then in the second year, how everybody was just. There was no nonsense. Everybody's going in the right direction, and what they accomplished as a group was phenomenal. And I think that's what you need. And I think we have it here from what I can tell. And that person, whoever it may be, comes into the situation. It's the old Kyle Whittingham. You fit into us. We don't fit into you.
That is critical.
Yeah.
With a big group, as big as these groups have gotten.
Right.
And the traveling parties. They were down in L.A., and they happened to go to a restaurant for dinner where one of my college roommates works. And he's like, they're bringing in 57 people. How big are NBA teams? I'm like, well, it's way beyond the team. It's the organization. Mm-hmm. And there's so many people, and you just can't have people off doing their own thing. Everybody's got to be pulling in the same direction, as you say. It's too big a project for it to work any other way.
So I don't know that I would count on the management or the administration or the team to be able to get them where they want to be individually. It's got to come from the individual. And that's one of the things that they've got to be able to look into somebody's face and see their soul and see their heart. Mm-hmm. And that's a tricky thing. But
Jerry Sloan once tapping his heart saying, you never know what's in here.
Yeah, and Jalen Brunson has spoken about that.
Yep.
Every chance he gets. And it's so cool to be able to see they played that interview when he was first signed by the team. And he was sitting there on a stage talking about that thing. And you're thinking, okay, that sounds good. That's what everybody says, blah, 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 blah. Well, 4 years later, we've got the evidence. And it's overwhelming conclusively. And he was right. He was spot on. Jalen Brunson should be held up as a role model for every young player in this league and in life, really. Because, when you look at it, he was disbelieved every step of the way. And so to see him do what he's been able to do has just been phenomenal. And it's just awesome to watch. It's a great story. And now you want your guy, whoever it may be tonight, you want him feeling that very same thing.
When we come back, Stephen Ellis, NHL draft and prospects analyst for the Daily Faceoff, joins us next. Stay with us. DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're joined now by Stephen Ellis, NHL draft and prospects analyst for the Daily Faceoff. The NHL draft coming up Friday and Saturday. Stephen, good morning.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Well, that'll be largely dependent on what you say right here. You control our mood. Okay, that's overstated. No one believes that. We're doing well, but we are curious here. With this draft coming up, the Mammoth are getting better, and they made it to the playoffs, so they've had this run of super high draft picks and a chance to get these impact guys. Where they're drafting now, what should the expectations be? How good a player can they get?
I think when you're looking at that 19th pick, you're hoping to get a guy that's, at best, a top six player. If you're getting a forward there, you might get a defenseman who can go out there and be a good shutdown, second or third pairing guy. I think we know that Utah likes to draft big guys. We know that's kind of something that they typically have done. They've got the reason why they're called Utah Mammoth is because they draft mammoth-sized people. But I think when you look at what's going to be available around that pick, you might get a Maxim Sokolovsky who's 6'8". You might get a Adam Novotny who's built like a tank. There's going to be some good players there. So it's going to be a different situation to last year's draft, or last two, I should say, where you went out and got a high impact forward. You're probably not getting a guy that's anywhere close to that, but you're getting someone who might be a really good support player. And, with 19, you're probably happy with that.
Reading a bunch of different mock drafts, I saw one that said that they need a true power play quarterback. What the heck is that?
So that's a guy that basically, on the power play, he's a defenseman. It's a guy that's basically the one kind of leading the show, the one who's passing the puck everywhere, kind of distributing the plays. He's kind of controlling the pace there. And, a guy like Matthew Schaefer of the Islanders, Cale Makar, Colorado Avalanche, Quinn Hughes in the Minnesota Wild, basically guys that are going to play a ton of minutes and kind of control everything. That's going to be pretty hard to do at, number 19, but you're going to probably get a guy that you hope can at least impact the power play in some way.
When you list needs, how do you prioritize them for the Mammoth? Or is that just nothing they can worry about now, best player available on the board, who cares?
I think they've got one of the best pipelines. They've got one of the best prospect pools in the NHL, top 5-ish, I'd say. And I think that's something where they've got a lot of strength there. And I don't think they necessarily need to go out there and draft another 6'7" guy. I think they can go out there and try and find someone who plays with a bit more skill. A guy like Adam Novotny, who, watching with the World Juniors in Czechia, he didn't score a goal, but my God, it felt like he was trying harder than anybody else out there. He had the most shot generations out of anybody on the Czechs, who ended up coming in second place in that tournament. So he'd be very interesting. Maybe you go and get a guy like Elton Hermansen, who was dominant with Sweden the last 2 years internationally, might be one of the more pure skilled forwards in this draft. I think in general, this is a team that could add a bit more skill, maybe play in that top six and be impactful up front offensively, and maybe not draft someone who's out there to just take space up and just kill everybody out there.
Do you see a possibility of any type of trades, because you speak of these assets that they have and they could possibly move up if they wanted to?
When it comes to trades in the first round, I always am very hesitant. This is not like the NFL. This is not like the NBA. We don't typically see a ton of trades in the first round. Having said that, we did see Florida. We did see Ottawa trade a couple first-round picks a few days ago in a pretty big deal with Brady Tkachuk, but that's not the norm. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what teams think. I will say this year's draft, after pick about 10, that's where the talent starts to really fall off a little bit, and that's something where, like, if you can get a guy who could help you immediately in the 19th pick is, one of the key parts of that trade. I think got to look at it there, but I feel like this is one where it feels like they're going to keep their pick at 19 just because, the trade market's not that great right now. I don't think there's a ton of guys you get super excited about, and I think maybe you worry about trading those guys later down the line.
Do teams invest in goaltenders the same way? Looking at mock drafts, I'm seeing no goalies picked until somewhere down in the 30s. What is the general league-wide attitude, and how much does it vary from team to team as far as developing goaltending?
Well, I'm a goalie myself. I think I should be drafted first overall. That's what I would say. I'm a little too old for the draft, but I think I would be that. But in general, goalies are the hardest position to really kind of figure out. There was a time where goalies actually went first overall quite often. You look at guys like Rick DiPietro and Roberto Luongo. Rick DiPietro, it didn't work at all out for the Islanders. They ended up signed to a 15-year deal, and they bought him out a few years later because he wasn't that good. So there's a lot of risk with goaltenders because there are very few true star caliber goalies. Now, that being said, there are some teams that you could look at later in that first round that don't have a ton of picks in the draft and might just look to acquire or to draft a goalie anyways and say, what, we've got a bunch of different, positional strengths already. Let's go and try and find one of the better goalies available. My guess is we're going to see about 3 or 4 goalies taken in the second round. And on the third and fourth, we're going to see a lot of goalies. There are typically around, 20 goalies drafted every year, but none in the top couple rounds, because goalies take 4 or 5 years to really develop, and teams drafting high would rather pick a guy who could be available quicker. And with goalies, just sometimes, things like playing time can be difficult to come by at the lower levels. They aren't playing every single game, so it's harder. So teams don't typically like to draft goalies early because there's just a lot more a risk associated with it. So I wouldn't expect to see any taken in the first round this year.
If what I hear is correct, you would take yourself over Gavin McKenna?
Well, I think, when you look at Gavin McKenna, I haven't seen him get into any goalie fights recently. I have, I think there's that. I did get 22 penalty minutes in one game. So if you need to add some toughness, I could definitely do it. Wow. And, I hope the scouts are just not looking at my recent results, a couple of tougher games. But I have 4 games for myself scheduled on Thursday, but that's the night, I'm in Buffalo. I'm going to miss it all, but that's the time where scouts will finally see that I'm the right choice for number.
Do you view McKenna as the obvious number one?
Yeah, I think McKenna's for sure the number one. In my opinion, he's so skilled, so smart. This is a guy I've been watching for 4 or 5 years at this point. And I think a lot of people made a big stink kind of about how his first half of college hockey was. And yeah, he wasn't that great, but he's playing 21 minutes a night as, a 17 turned 18-year-old guy in a program at Penn State that just didn't have a ton of scoring depth. And the fact that he looked as good as he did, I think is actually quite impressive. And that's the kind of guy that Toronto needs, someone who's skilled, who can set up a guy like Austin Matthews and try to create long-term damage there. But I will also point out that, Austin Matthews needed a playmaking winger. They just got rid of one in Mitch Marner. He had a pretty good run with the Vegas Golden Knights this year. McKenna's not as rounded as Mitch Marner, so we'll see what happens. But from a pure skill perspective, he's the best player in the draft.
Obviously, the Mammoth not drafting as high this year, and it'll take some time. But the other guys who've been picked higher, who have been in the pipeline for a while now, who do you think is about ready to join the Mammoth, and who do you think will have the most impact when they do join, even if they're not the next one up?
So you look at a guy like TJ Ginla, and he was the best player in junior hockey this year. He didn't win any major awards, but like if I was voting on the WHL MVP, he would have been my pick because he was that good this year. You look at a guy like Cole Baudouin, outstanding regular season, was dominant in the playoffs. Great now, like Barry was nowhere as strong when he wasn't playing out there. Caleb Denoyer was picked in the top 5 last year of the draft. Very productive in Moncton this year. Very fun team. Gabe Smith was kind of one of the guys he played with, and he was outstanding there too. So you got the Russians in Simashev and Daniel Boot that are interesting. And then I wasn't a big fan for a while on Michael Arabel, the goaltender. He's massive, but I think when you look at what he was able to do this year in college and then a pretty impressive run to finish the year in the AHL, I think he's maybe Utah's goalie of the future. So like this is a strong pipeline. You've got a lot of high-end talents there. Iginla's the guy that I think is going to be the one selling all the jerseys, the one that's going to be so exciting. His dad, Jerome Iginla, NHL legend, but Tej, aggressive forward, strong, good shot. He's a fan favorite. So he's a guy that's going to be really fun to watch. And I think he should be in the lineup next year.
Yeah, okay, so we got that. We got a timeline for him, and people are talking about him and anticipating that. When you draft as low as they're drafting, what would be your timeline for a player to be able to make his mark with the Mammoth?
I think it really kind of depends on who they take. Like if they take a guy like Novotny, who I really like, I feel like that's one where probably 2 years from now, you're looking at him trying to make the roster. Guy like, Oscar Hemming, maybe he spends 1 more year in college and then you look at him. I think the bigger, more physically mature players are the ones that typically transition to the NHL a little bit better than a smaller skilled guy. But, you might not get like a guy like Oscar Hemming might not be as talented as Elton Hermanson. Do you want to pass on that pure skill, a guy who can maybe be a top line player, or do you want to have a guy like Hemming where he's a bit more of an all around player, two-way guy, big 6'4" frame? So it really depends on the type of guy, but realistically, we're looking 2 to 3 years most likely for these type of players.
You mentioned going for size. You mentioned a 6'8" prospect. Maverick Lamoureux was up, and he is just standing next to that guy in the locker room. He is just massive. At what point, his size is great, but also the center of gravity changes, and that can be a problem. So what is the max height for a really good NHL player?
It's very interesting because you look at like this year, there's actually a guy who's 7'1" from Moldova who's going to get drafted, Alexander Karmanov. Probably the worst skater I've ever seen, but you could probably find some like 13-year-olds who could just skate. Actually, I shouldn't say 13, probably 8-year-olds who could outskate him, but he's 7'1". Like, try it. You look at the tallest guys of all time in the NHL, and someone like Zdeno Chara at 6'9", he's got that size. He was one of the best defensemen of his era. Then you look at Curtis Douglas, a forward, also 6'9", not quick. He's more of a tough guy. I think you're looking at like that sweet spot almost being like 6'3", 6'4", because usually those guys are still light enough to be able to skate, but strong enough to be more of a physical player. Anything after that, like Tage Thompson is 6'7", but he's kind of like a physical anomaly. He's not normal. Like, you're not going to find guys like that. So, a guy like Daniel Boot being 6'5", it's interesting to kind of see what happens. But when it comes to defensemen in particular, you typically want these guys who've got that size because they take up that space and they're tough to push around. That being said, I think a lot of smaller defensemen are taking over, like Lane Hudson, Matthew Schaefer. Neither of those guys are that big, and they're two of the most skilled guys in the NHL. And I think you kind of have to find the right mix. Defensemen are starting to get a little smaller. I say that knowing not a single defenseman under 6 foot was drafted last year, but centers are also getting bigger. Kind of in contrast, we're seeing a lot of teams that are taking 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" centers. It feels though like the sweet spot of like perfect size is like 6'3", 6'4".
Stepping away from the draft, what do you think the team needs to improve upon to be able to do better than it did last year? Because all about last year was getting to the playoff. That was the stated goal, and they got there. Well, all right, now you got to up the ante a little bit here.
I think you just got to look at, the game-to-game consistency out there, make sure that, like obviously Clayton Keller having the season he did was great. Like, can Nick Schmaltz continue to be this high-impact guy? He was a fantasy gold mine for so long. Getting a guy like JJ Peterka to maybe become a 55 point guy would be big. Logan Cooley missing as much time as he did obviously didn't help. So I think you're just kind of looking for those guys to just continue to be, more offensively minded there. Yeah, you got to get that consistent goaltending. Obviously, if they'll make you look at the near 40 wins, workhorse guy, you probably want to have a backup goalie you can really rely on, though. A guy that can go out there and win games, because you look at the difference in the stats between him and Vitek Vanacek, and Vanacek often didn't look like an NHL goalie out there. So I think finding that right backup goalie will be interesting, but then also just making sure everyone could stay healthy. You know, another year Mackenzie Weegar is going to be nice, and I like what we've seen out of guys like Cooley and Keller. You just got to get that game-to-game consistency so you're tougher to play against.
Stephen Ellis joined us, NHL draft and prospects analyst for the Daily Faceoff. There's a couple different age groups on this mammoth roster. You've got guys like Keller and Sergachev. They're in their prime. And that kind of suggests that maybe they should move some of these prospects and go all in and get a group that can win here in the next 2-3 years. But also, Cooley and Gunther are young, and with all these prospects is an argument for, hey, do the best you can in the next 2-3 years, but don't short-circuit the future, because Gunther and Cooley are young enough, and how many of these prospects are going to pay off, that's the real sweet spot for the organization. Which timeline do you like? Where would you push your chips?
I think, you're looking like Sergachev's 27, Keller's 27, right? Like those guys are interesting. Jersey's 27. You got McBain, Hayden, that 26 age, Peterka 24, Gunther. Like, I feel like this is something where you could probably look at this and say, like, maybe 3 years until they're really ready to go. Because I think when you also look at what this team was before moving to Utah, like Bill Armstrong had like no money to work with. This was a team that was so financially cap strapped. They're still having to work hard to like prove to players around the NHL, like, hey, like this is a team you want to come join and be very effective. And I feel like Armstrong's done a very good job so far, but I still think we're talking a few more years, like 3-4 years, like a Ginla, when he's kind of really hitting his stride. That's where things are going to get really interesting for this team. So I wouldn't kind of sell the farm here, but I think their core has still got a couple years where you could say like, okay, 30, like let's say when Sergey's 30, like maybe still play some really good hockey until he's 33, 34. That's kind of what you're banking on there. He won't get better in his 30s. That just typically doesn't happen, but I think it's still something where, 2 to 3 years is kind of what you're looking at and saying that's when you want to be very competitive. And they've got time to make some trades. You asked about what if they traded that first round pick. Like, I think there's still a good argument for it, but it's got to be for the right price and the right pick. And it's not sure who on the market would be worth kind of moving a first round pick for right now.
All right, so you've got 4 games Thursday, 22 penalty minutes, your career high. We didn't ask you about signability, though. Always a factor.
Just give me some good. I don't know. Anywhere I can go watch NASCAR easily. So anywhere I can go watch some racing in my free time is kind of the way I'd go. It's just now that make it easy to sign. I'll play anywhere as long as you're just willing to let me spend the weekends off and do what I feel like doing.
Okay, there's Stephen Ellis, NHL draft and prospects analyst for the Daily Faceoff. Stephen, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right. No cash, just needs a race day off for NASCAR. There you go. So put that in the bank.
You can get that anywhere, can't you?
If they're willing to work with you, PK. If they're willing to work with you. When we come back, everything you missed in this show next. Stay with us. The Giannis trade, commitments for the Utes and the Cougars. It's all on the way. Stay with us.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeCoq.
Joining us now, he is the athletic director of Brigham Young University, Brian Santiago. AJ Dybantsa comes in, and what a big get it was for BYU. But did that exceed your expectations, not just on the court, but how he embraced the community and the community embraced him?
AJ is remarkable from day one, all in for BYU. The one thing about this draft is super. I hope in the worst way he goes number 1, because I know that's his dream. I know that he's put in so much to put himself in a position to be the number 1 pick in the draft. One thing that I do have a lot of confidence in, and Danny Ainge, he's the best in the business, so is Austin. They got it. They'll figure it out, and they'll do what's right for that franchise. It's going to be super interesting to see how it works out. I'm one that's pulling hard for him to be the number 1 pick, even though I'd love if he ended up in Utah.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Slacker Red Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 1-855-TRAJAN-1 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. The Giannis trade is in the books, PK. Did Miami win? Did Milwaukee win? Did Portland win? Who's the big winners? Giannis and Bobby Portis go to Miami, and the Bucks get 4 players led by Tyler Hero and Jaime Jaquez Jr., and 3 first-round draft picks, including the number 13 pick tonight.
Tonight.
And they also have a pick swap in addition to those 3 first-round picks.
That doesn't really move me that much.
Yeah. Now with Milwaukee in a rebuild, and they've shipped some picks away to Portland. Maybe Portland gets higher draft picks out of this. It helps the Blazers. That'd be how Portland comes out the winner in this.
Well, you can get all the draft picks you want, but you got to draft the right player.
And with the new flattened odds, we have no idea where those picks are going to land.
Right.
Players getting money. Trae Young expected to sign a 4-year, $212 million Supermax extension with the Washington Wizards. Does that mean the Wizards aren't going to draft Peterson? Do you want a bigger player to go with Small and Young?
Listening to some NBA player analysts, ex-NBA player analysts, talking about that actually would lead them to believe that they would draft Peterson because you need someone to be able to handle off the ball, on the ball, that type of thing.
Play him as the 2 guard, but let him defend the point, if necessary.
Yeah. And I think Peterson can move around and do a lot of different things for you.
He was asked about that and hesitated and then said he sees himself as a combo guard. He's going to run the show at times. He can play off the ball at times, so whatever.
That's the way I see him, yeah. I think that's a reality, is that he has the ability to just move. And when you can move and shoot like he can,
then you got the flexibility.
Floor is where you're going to be, and depending on the situation in the given play, this kid can go wherever you need him to go. I mean, he's highly skilled. He's smooth, man. He's smooth. So I don't think that the Trae Young thing eliminates it, and I'm not sure that it promotes that, okay, we got to go Peterson, because I think that they're not being as familiar with their roster and Anthony Davis and his health and blah, blah, blah. What they need, they need just talent, and whatever they think is, or whoever they think is the most talented, that's who they take, and then go from there. I mean, they got a lot of questions to be answered, and they've got some young guys too. I mean, they've had some high draft picks.
Minnesota Timberwolves traded Julius Randle to the Brooklyn Nets in a 3-team deal that sends center Nick Claxton to Chicago, and the Nets add the 28th pick tonight. The 33rd pick goes to Minnesota. Minnesota gets a little cap room, and they turn around and sign emerging guard Ayo Dosunmu on a 5-year, $112 million extension. Minnesota, are they officially stuck in the middle in the West?
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota's a good team, but can they make that jump to a better team? I'm not sure. I don't think so. But they're a good team.
They are good. But it's the stuck in the middle scenario where you're the 3rd, 4th, or 5th best team in the West.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're the 3rd team, you're not in the middle, but I get your point. You're
stuck in the upper middle.
You're not necessarily a threat to go to the NBA Finals.
Right.
And they've been in the postseason. They've had success in the postseason.
And they've been to the conference final.
They run up against it each time.
Right. They've been to the conference final.
But you can argue, Anthony Edwards is still a youngster.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's been very good. And maybe he's an all-time player who can carry you a little bit more as he continues to develop.
Get older, get more mature, get more playoff experience. And they keep tinkering with the roster around
he's
him.
really good.
Right.
I mean, you'd love to have him on your team for sure. So maybe that's what they're thinking, that, okay, he just gets better and the players around him fit in a little bit more, and away you go. It's not hopeless. It's just that I wouldn't put them as close to the favorite.
You'd rather be Miami in the East with no draft picks, but people want to play in Miami?
I think that's overblown.
The people want to play in Miami?
Yeah.
They want the biggest paycheck?
Yeah.
Now, if the paychecks are even, now Miami will matter. Playing with Giannis could matter. People want to play with stars.
Right, but that's not Miami. That's Giannis.
Right. But they can now sell both those things. We've got a star. It's Miami.
I just don't think guys care about that much. Miami's, and people aren't flocking to Miami. Players. I mean, create your own mark wherever you are. The stage is big enough no matter where you are. And if I want people who want to play in Miami,
then you wonder if they're really into the winning.
Yeah.
If they're really, once you're inside the gym, what does it matter where the gym is?
Unless you're 35 years old and you got kids there or whatever, or whatever it might be, but not just when you say Miami, you think of nightlife and stuff. I'm not interested in nightlife.
Too much nightlife will impact the playing ability.
Yeah.
College football. Here come commitments. 3 for BYU, 2 for Utah. The Utes add safeties from Corner Canyon, Diesel Dart. From Syracuse, Caleb Hall. For BYU, they get a corner from Kell High School in Georgia, Kamoni Adams. San Clemente athlete Jackson Rex. And Lake Braddock's James Thorley, a kicker and punter from Virginia. Now, do we care about commitments when it's verbal commitments and they can still flip before they sign, and then once they sign, they can transfer? And we've seen kids come to school for spring football and be gone almost immediately.
Well, I think everything matters, but you can't count on anything. And so you have to recruit the traditional way, and you also have to recruit the non-traditional way, which has become the traditional way with the transfer portal. So you have no idea who any of these kids are in terms of where they can fit in and be an immediate impact player or a program player who's going to have to develop a year or two. And if you're coming from Georgia and you're not getting on the field immediately, is that someplace you want to be? Now, BYU's done a good job at retaining players. I got to info for Utah, too, for that matter. But,
but it's always a concern.
Bring guys along. It's just, but you can't downplay it. You have to keep it in perspective and think, okay, that's good. You got a talented kid who's coming.
Well, and the thing on Diesel Dart, legacy guy, his dad Brandon played at Utah, and then Rex, that's Byron Rex's nephew. He's cousins with Preston and Isaac, so family legacies obviously help out in that regard.
If they're playing and they want to be there, but I'm not counting on freshmen. If I'm counting on freshmen, I'm in a developing situation. These programs are built
looking to win now. Looking to win now,
and they're still a year away anyway. We're literally a year away from being on campus.
A year away from being that freshman,
and then
if
they're a year away from that kid.
Yeah.
And if they're mission bound, they're 3 years.
And they're 3 or 4, and I'll be dead by then.
By then, we'll know whether these draft picks tonight are going to be awesome or not. We spent a lot of time talking about tonight's draft. You got any clarity now?
I do. The clarity is the foggy.
You're more sure than ever that you don't know for sure. Stun, amaze me, shock me, wow me. We're making all these assumptions / predictions based on there won't be any trades, which I don't think there will be, but you never know.
Well, I don't know at the top. And the trades at the bottom won't matter or beyond 3. I think that for the Jazz, they have scenario ABC. If Dybantsa goes 1, they've got this. If Peterson goes 1, they've got this. If Boozer goes 1, they got this. And that's the cool thing. They don't need to have anything more than 3. Unless Memphis finds a way to move up or whoever it might be. I just picked Memphis as an example because they're 3. That could change things. But even at that.
If you have your top 3 figured out, you would know, even if you traded down a spot. Which we don't anticipate, but we don't really know what the heck's going to happen.
Yeah. So they're prepared for these potential scenarios. The good thing is drafting second, you don't have to come up with a whole bunch of stuff. You can really zero in on the 3 guys that you believe are a cut above, or 4 if you want to go Wilson or whomever. And you've done all, because you've had 6 weeks now with this draft order to be prepared for all these possibilities. So I don't think that they would be, I think there's a slim chance that they would be taken by surprise. Something could happen if somebody makes some crazy offer or what have you. And so then they just go. And then they're ready to go, and they make a pivot. It's an easy pivot drafting second. They're in a good spot.
Fewer permutations.
And it's not like, well, the number 1 player is going to be 50% better than the number 2 player. I don't see that.
Wouldn't think so.
So they're in a good enough position to get a very good talent, and that's what matters the most, right? That's exactly what matters, and they're right there where they might want to be one, but they're where they need to be. They got there. The luck broke their way, and the planning broke their way because they planned to lose, and they did, and then they got a little lucky, and here we are.
Starting at 2 o'clock, Jake on remote. JCW's in South Jordan, and Ben will join him from 2 to 4 from New York. Ben joined us earlier this morning. You can listen to that conversation wherever you get your podcasts. It's available at KSLSports.com. It's available at YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you want to listen to it. Ben and Jake 2 to 4. Then Ben will get off the phone and head over to the arena. PK and I'll be there 4 to 6. And then the draft will start at 6. And the coach, Tim Lacombe, and Scotty G will be there with Jake for the draft.
Steve Cleveland, I think, too.
Oh, Steve Cleveland, you're right, yeah. JCW's in South Jordan.
And then it's
No Steve?
Oh.
Okay.
Well, we changed that.
All right.
The original plan had his name on it. And then the good thing is that we're not laboring to go through all this. With the 12th pick, and
the draft starts at 6, and the Jazz should be drafting between 7:30 and 8.
That's torture, man.
No. The draft will start at 6. There'll be a little talk and yak fest. There probably won't be a pick till 6:10 or 6:15, and then the Jazz will make the second pick, and by 6:30, the interviews will begin.
I know. That's what's awesome. And then all the speculation. Did they do this right? Is it that right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, blah, blah, blah. That's the fun part of it. And I think the NBA draft is the most fun of all the drafts.
Because we've seen the players and we know more about them.
Yeah. Even if it's just 1 year. And then having Dybantsa there just adds even way more. And to an extent, Boozer's son, which from my perspective, being able to watch Cameron Boozer, I've probably seen him play in 40 games that go beyond Duke. Because he's been on television.
A lot.
Yeah.
He's playing in events, games, tournaments, whatever.
Right. Yeah. And then having Dybantsa, where we've seen him in person many, many times, on television a ton of times, this is fun. And everybody's got an opinion. And
July 4, 6, and 7, presumably, we'll get to see whoever they pick play at the Huntsman Center. Summer League. Get our first taste of it.
Yeah, for what that's worth.
Yep.
But it's fine.
It's all we've got, so we'll take it.
But you can't go extreme either way.
No.
I've seen enough of these guys to know that
they're going to look good in Summer League.
Yeah, and I'm expecting them to show well, and then Vegas. The good thing about the Salt Lake Summer League is it's quick. The Vegas team seems to linger on and on. And it's like, I got to get on with summer here. I'm running out of time.
The Hawks are coming, the Grizzlies are coming, and the Thunder are coming. So whoever the Grizzlies get at number 3 will be here as well.
Well, it'll probably be one of the 3, right?
I would think so.
Yeah. So that's cool. They'll be here, and people get into that. Sure, get into it. And especially this year to see this top stud. I don't know that he plays all 3.
They seem to be shying away from the back-to-backs.
They do, yeah.
So I would think the 4th and then either the 6th or 7th. And maybe depending on who they're playing, we'll see.
Well, yeah, go to the first one, and it's in the afternoon, obviously, July 4th, and the celebrations in the evening. So I would say for those folks, the 4th be with you, and you be with the 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
I think the most important thing is that there'll be a ton of gazillion talent in the Huntsman Center.
I agree.
Yeah.
That was an excellent point.
A ton of a gazillion.
Hey, sometimes vinyl has a scratch and the needle skips. Ton of gazillion. That's it. Yes, Yak, I like it.
Yeah, that's what's great about this job is that when 10 o'clock comes, it may be a memorable day that will live on.
Mm-hmm.
who put the D in Alice? You don't sound like a Debbie. You don't know when it's coming or if it's coming, but there's always a possibility that it is.
You don't really sound like a Debbie.
Well, I've been one for a long time.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
How dare you?
I know. That's where you need the backup sound effect.
Why does she not sound like a Debbie?
Deep voice. Deep talker. It's a Seinfeld episode.
Let me hear that again, Yock.
You don't really sound like a Debbie.
Well, I've been one for a long time.
All right.
That is not a male voice.
There, but if you listened earlier in the conversation, which is edited out for lack of context. Yeah, that's good, Yock. Nice. Yock's on the sound effects game today.
That sounds like a female voice.
Well, later.
I agree, but
nobody asked you. I agree, but just finish the sentence. Nobody asked me. That was hypocritical. Stand in there, look at your Mountain View media guide, and figure out how good the Bruins are going to be this fall.
Mountain View media guide? What are you talking about?
I don't understand why you thought that lady had a male-oriented voice.
On further reflection, neither do I. But at the time, I just have gender identification issues.
Apparently.
Apparently, yes. Apparently I do.
Well, in the moment, things sometimes are unexplainable that become clear with reflection.
No, I'm too into myself to be annoyed by other people. Manny Machado breaking out of the slump. You buying it, or he had to get better? There was nowhere to go but up. He's still not going to be himself or what he was. He's 34.
I don't think 34, though, is necessarily the end
of the road either.
No.
He could be hitting 25 home runs instead of 35.
And for him and them,
yeah,
what's he going to do in the playoff?
Excellent question.
Because if he does well in the postseason, then who cares?
Well, first off, they need to get to the playoffs.
I know, but I think there's a good chance they get there.
There is a good chance, but there's also a decent chance they don't. They're 3 games over 500. They're right in the middle of the wild card race.
And okay.
I mean, like if the playoffs started today, they're tied with the Cubs for the last one, and now they do tiebreakers. They don't do the playoff like they used to do anymore. And actually, they're tied with Washington too. So anything could happen.
I mean, it could, but if they get there, then he can have a big postseason. That's really all that matters.
The commissioner has to be loving this. There's 8 teams fighting for 3 wild card berths, and they're separated by 4 games in late June. So who knows?
That's what they wanted.
It is what they wanted. And that gives you 3 chances to get in and 5 chances to miss. And where do you stack up on all of that?
In the final season, they have drama. And
in the final season?
Yeah. Before there's a huge break.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. The final season referencing to 2027 might not happen from a Major League Baseball perspective.
Right.
There might be minor league games, there'll be college games and high school games, but MLB.
I'd be shocked if they played 162.
I would too. But if they play 140, you won't like it, but at least you'll be able to endure it. But there is the thought that they'll play 60 or less.
I know.
And if they don't play 60, are they even going to play at all?
Right. And then they screw it up.
Yep. Manny Machado homered. Padres beat the Braves 1-0. And the Dodgers now pass the Braves, best record in the National League. Dodgers get a home run in the first from Shohei. Shohei Ohtani goes deep on the second pitch of the game, and Freddie Freeman breaks a 1-1 tie with a solo homer. They win 2-1, and they get Eric Lauer 6 no-hit innings out of the bullpen. That doesn't happen very often.
No.
And yet he delivered.
Unbelievable.
And they win.
Shocking that they win.
SEC takes home the baseball title. They're the new Conference of Champions, PK. Oklahoma beats North Carolina 13-2 to win the College Baseball World Series title. First time they've done it since 94.
Yeah.
They win 2 out of 3. And the third game is a blowout. It's remarkable because they were like 4-9 in the last 13 conference games, and then they got hot, and here they are, champs.
See, get in the playoff. That's what determines.
Yep, it really is. Bees and Isotopes in Albuquerque tonight. We'll have draft coverage on 97.5 and 1280 The Zone, so Tony Parks will have the Bees game on 102.7 HD2 and a KSL Extreme. All right, when we come back, your feedback next. The poll question, we'll update it. Go to Twitter and vote. David DJ James, who do Jazz fans want the Jazz to take with the first pick? It's been very close between DP and AJ. We'll get to that next with your feedback. Stay with us. Join Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe Wednesday from 10 to 2 at RGS Exteriors, 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. Question of the morning. Darryn Peterson says he met with the Jazz over weekend. Does that calm your fears? Dave, nobody had any fears except for crybaby whiny fans and David Locke. Wow. That is harsh.
Well, the question was promoted for the fans to answer. So to say except the fans, that's who the question was directed to.
Not except the fans, except for the crybaby whiny fans. Not the fans, not the crybaby fans, not the whiny fans, the crybaby whiny fans. It's like a Venn diagram. Here's a circle of fans.
And I love Venn diagrams. I think that the question was directed at crybaby whiny fans, and we know there's a ton of gazillion crybaby whiny fans.
Utah Utes discover Salt Lake City. It calms my media-created fears that never existed. Travis, I never had any fears. Most Jazz fans know the media makes up a fake narrative.
Then why did they meet with him?
I don't know, man. It's media making up a narrative.
Why did he meet with them?
To dispense with the media narrative. It's all media narratives, PK.
Yeah, if you worry about the media at that level. I mean, they clearly thought it was important enough to do it. It's not like they just bumped into him at the 7-Eleven.
Yeah. You get a big gulp? Yeah. No, I'm in for the frozen ice cream candy bars. We got a minute to talk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just leave them in there so they don't melt.
Yeah, let's go outside.
Stand in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Breathe the fumes from the pickup trucks
clearly
pulling
it
in and
was
out.
set up.
Yes.
So there had to be a point to doing it.
The Jazz have questions. They want to spend time with him and see what he's like.
Clearly they did.
If we're going to make a multi-million-dollar investment, could we at least get to know you a little bit?
Yeah.
Or it's a media narrative. And
if the
crybaby whiny
Wizards
fans
take
are buying into it.
Dybantsa and then the Jazz take Boozer, well, then that could tell you something, that they didn't like what they heard.
They didn't get the answers they wanted/needed.
So they had fears.
Doug, yep. Interviews yesterday. I felt like he did really good. Bring him in. Playoffs, here we come. Doug's ready to roll. Let's roll.
Oh, I see that's a plausible scenario.
Los Utah Jazz at Utah Jazz Espanol. Fears, 0. He made a jersey up.
That's
nice.
not bad.
Yeah. Although with that, it looks like the BYU bib jerseys from the Hans Olsen 1999-2000 time period.
That was a mistake.
That was. They pivoted quickly. Mm-hmm. Good decision. Yeah, the bibs aren't working for us. Next.
Yeah, I'm not a uniform guy, but I know that didn't work.
That didn't work.
No.
Yeah. Tussed Up says, I never had any fears. He was just told he's going number 1, so working out in Utah could only hurt him.
Then why did he meet with him?
New information. He was told he's not going number 1. Or he believed it. I think it was more he's trying to shape the storyline, and now he's like, I don't know if that's working. Let's go ahead and meet with him. Just in case I fall to 2, make sure I don't fall to 3.
Yeah, right, exactly. And if you're confident in the way you present yourself, then meet with him.
Which he does seem to be. And, Ben, who was there, you're in the room, you get a feel for it and that. And he said he was pretty, he presented himself well. He was chatting
But he gave
people
short
up.
answers.
Yeah, agree with that. I thought they all did, actually. But I also think it's the format. There's no real storyline in interview. It's just rando.
Yeah, but I think that's the way it is now most of the time with these professionals.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't think that was necessarily an unusual situation.
Yeah. And the difference being most of the time when they're being interviewed, they're talking about a game that just concluded.
Yeah.
And here they were asking you, what's your favorite emoji? What rapper, one of them, liked to listen to Drake? Janice STFU is on Drake's new Iceman album, as you know.
All right.
Yeah. I think STFU stands for Shut the Fetch Up.
It does.
Yeah. Oh, Janice. I guess she's talking too much. I don't know.
You're running it, Janice. Who will be the best player in the 2026 NBA draft? The vote is getting closer. 45% of the vote for AJ, 44% of the vote for DP. Booze with 7.5% of the vote, and other 3.7. 134 votes in. You can vote. Twitter, David DJ James. You'd Volunteer 89 says Acuff had the stuff and will end up being the best player. Wilson will be the second best player. So the top three are all going to miss?
No. They could be really good players, but somebody could be better.
But when we redraft, 1, 2 will come from outside the top three.
Well, that depends.
Well, if Acuff will end up being the best player, Wilson will be second.
Yeah, but so what? If you're a really good player and in your second year you're getting a Jazz be a part of the rotation and you're getting in the conference final and then you build from there, who really cares? That's like saying Olajuwon Jordan. Okay, fine. But Olajuwon was really, really good.
That he was.
Yeah.
If the Jazz draft somebody who is the best player on a back-to-back championship set of teams,
that's good enough, man.
That is great.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Even if A-Cup goes to Sacramento and wins 6 titles.
Okay, but that's...
There's things that have never been said in a sentence before.
That's highly unlikely.
Right.
As we would have said in 1980, whenever Jordan came out,
Mm-hmm.
was it 83, 84, 85, when was that? Whenever it was, who would have thought, okay, he's going to lead them to 6 titles. No. 3 three-peats, and the only reason why it wasn't more was because he went away.
2 three-peats. You said 3 three-peats.
Right.
That would have been awesome. That would have been 9 titles.
I meant
do it again.
It was 3 repeats. I mean, they had 3. It was 2 times. I get it, but the 3.
They 3 in a row repeated.
Yeah. And who would have said that? No one would have said that.
That's a ton-of-a-gazillion right there.
Would you have said that coming in?
No, nobody said that coming in. We were there. Nobody said that. This guy's going to win 6 titles. Literally, no one's ever said 6 titles.
Right. But yet he did. Good for him.
LeBron had the highest expectations. There was definitely expectations for multiple titles out of LeBron, and he's delivered. It's 4.
Mm-hmm. That's plenty good enough.
Yeah. All right, DJ and PK, we're all done. Scotty G and the coach Tim Lacombe are next. We'll see you again from 4 to 6 when we join Jake at JCW's.